Imagine this for a moment. You're sitting in your car, surrounded by the metallic gleam of 1,000 other cars, all motionless in the evening traffic. The sun is setting, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. But you barely notice. Your mind is a frantic calculator, tallying up the mortgage payment, the car loan, the credit card bill that seems to grow of its own accord. You feel a familiar, tightening knot in your chest. The feeling of being on a treadmill, running faster and faster only to stay in the same place. It's not a feeling of laziness. You work hard. You sacrifice. But it's a feeling of profound powerlessness. A quiet suspicion that you're playing a game where the rules were written by someone else, and you were never given a copy of the rulebook. This feeling stems from a core belief that has been woven into the fabric of our reality. We are taught that money is a physical thing. It's the paper in our wallets, the coins in a jar, the cold, hard numbers on a computer screen. To get more of it, we must trade our life force, our precious hours, our passion, and sometimes even our health. We are told to chase it, to hunt it down, to secure it. This philosophy operates on a simple, seemingly logical principle: seeing is believing. Only when you see the money in your account can you feel secure. Only when you hold the cash in your hand can you feel a sense of relief. And so we chase these paper phantoms, running ourselves into the ground, wondering why the finish line of financial peace always seems to move further away the closer we get. We treat the symptom, which is the lack of money, without ever questioning the diagnosis. But what if that diagnosis is wrong? What if the entire rulebook you were given was written backwards? What if the most powerful law of finance and reality isn't seeing is believing, but believing is seeing? What if money is not something you pursue, but something you attract? This is the beginning of a profound journey, a shift in understanding that changes everything. It begins with a single, radical idea: money is not a physical object. It is a form of consciousness. It is energy. It is a mirror, reflecting your own inner state of being back to you. The universe, you see, does not respond to your desperate want. It responds to your frequency, to the vibration you are currently embodying. It doesn't give you what you ask for with your words. It gives you what you are with your energy. And throughout this journey, we will explore the timeless messages and universal laws, often found within the profound wisdom of audiobooks, turning your daily commute, your workout, your quiet moments, into a portal of discovery. We will learn not just to think differently about money, but to become the very consciousness of abundance itself. To begin this journey, we must first confront the ghost in the machine, the foundational illusion upon which our entire relationship with lack and abundance is built. It is the great misconception, the silent agreement we have all bought into without ever examining the terms and conditions. It is the belief that money is a thing. I want you to truly consider this. Pick up a dollar bill if you have one, or simply summon its image in your mind. Feel the strange, fabric-like texture of it, a blend of cotton and linen. Look at the intricate green and black ink, the stoic face of a long-dead president, the cryptic symbols and serial numbers. We have been trained since birth to see this object, this piece of paper, as power. We see it as security. We see it as a solution, or the cause of our problems. But what we are really looking at is a talisman, a physical object imbued with a collective story. We are chasing a paper phantom. The truth is, money has no value in and of itself. It is a tool. It is a symbol. It is a brilliant human invention designed to solve a problem of exchange. In a complex society, you cannot always trade your skill as a musician for a loaf of bread, because the baker may not need a song today. So we created a stand-in, a universally accepted voucher that says, "The bearer of this note has provided value to someone, somewhere, and is entitled to receive value in return." That is all it is. It is a symbol of trust. It is a social contract written on paper and stored in digital ledgers. Just as the word water is not wet and cannot quench your thirst, the dollar bill is not, in itself, wealth. It is a pointer to wealth. It is a map, but we have become obsessed with collecting maps, forgetting entirely about the destination. They are meant to guide us toward. We have mistaken the menu for the meal, and we are starving. This fundamental misunderstanding, this obsession with the symbol rather than the substance, has given birth to the most pervasive and toxic consciousness on the planet. The consciousness of scarcity. When you believe that money is a finite, physical object, you must also believe that there is a limited supply. It becomes a giant pizza. And if someone takes a slice, there is less for everyone else. This belief system forces us into a state of perpetual competition. It fuels anxiety, jealousy, and fear. It makes us hoard our maps, guarding them jealously, constantly terrified that someone else will get more maps than us. It is the engine of the rat race. The frantic, desperate scramble to accumulate more paper vouchers than the next person. It is a game with no finish line, because the fear of not having enough is a bottomless pit. This scarcity mindset is a prison of our own making, but its walls are so familiar that we have come to mistake them for the boundaries of reality itself. We believe this is just how the world works, without ever realizing that the world works according to the beliefs of those who inhabit it. Now, let us go one level deeper. Let's perform a simple thought experiment. Why do you want more money? Take a moment and honestly answer that question in the quiet of your own mind. Do you want $1 million so that you can stack the bills in a room and look at them? Do you want the number to appear on your banking app so you can simply admire the pixels? Of course not. You do not want the money. You want what you believe the money will give you. You want the feeling of freedom, the ability to wake up on a Tuesday morning and do whatever your heart desires. You want the feeling of security, the deep, peaceful, knowing that your family is safe and your needs are met. You want the feeling of joy that comes from traveling to a new country, or the feeling of generosity that comes from helping a loved one in need. You are not chasing paper. You are chasing a state of being. This is a critical distinction, because the universe does not operate on the level of objects. It operates on the level of essence, of feeling, of frequency. You have been sending out the signal of, "I need the paper," which is a frequency of lack, a frequency of grasping. The universe, in its infinite and impersonal wisdom, simply reflects that frequency of lack back to you. The true path is to learn how to generate the feeling of freedom, security, and joy first, which then allows the physical symbols of those feelings to flow into your life effortlessly. To understand how truly abstract money is, one only needs to glance at its history. We have used salt, seashells, and cattle as currency. We then fell in love with precious metals, with the heavy, reassuring weight of gold and silver. For a time, our paper phantoms were at least tethered to this gold, giving them a shadow of tangible value. But today, the vast majority of the world's currency is fiat money, which is Latin for "let it be done." It is backed by nothing more than a government decree, and our collective faith in that government. The recent rise of cryptocurrencies is the ultimate and most blatant proof of this principle. They are purely digital entries, backed by nothing but a shared belief in a complex algorithm. Money has always been an idea, a shared story. It is consciousness, objectified, And this is not some New Age revelation. It is an ancient truth, a secret hidden in plain sight. You can hear this ancient echo in the timeless wisdom of audiobooks like The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. Listening to these parables, set in the sands of ancient history, you realize that the struggle and the solution have never changed. Arkad, the richest man in Babylon, did not become wealthy by obsessing over the physical gold coins. He did not become wealthy by believing in scarcity or fighting his neighbors for their share. He became wealthy by understanding timeless principles. Principles of consciousness. A part of all you earn is yours to keep. This is not just financial advice. It is a declaration of self-worth. It is an act of consciousness that says, I am worthy of keeping the value I create. Make thy gold multiply. This is the principle of understanding that wealth is not static. It is an energy that must flow and grow. The wisdom of Babylon was not about hoarding physical objects, but about cultivating a mindset, a series of habits and beliefs that naturally attracted wealth. It was about creating a consciousness of abundance, which then manifested as chests of gold. The phantoms may have changed from gold coins to digital bits, but the underlying reality, the power of human consciousness to shape its financial destiny, has remained constant. So the first, most crucial step on this path is to awaken from this trance. It is to look at the dollar bill, the bank statement, the credit card debt, and to see them for what they are: symbols, echoes of a past consciousness. They are not you. They do not define you. They are the residue of old beliefs, old fears, and old stories. We have been conditioned to chase these phantoms down a hallway of mirrors, exhausting ourselves while the real prize, a shift in our own awareness, was waiting for us all along. We must consciously withdraw our energy from the chase. We must stop giving these paper ghosts our power. And as we cease our desperate pursuit of the symbol, we can finally turn our attention to the source. If money is not a thing, if it is not an object to be endlessly pursued, then what is its true substance? Where does its power really come from? The answer is as simple as it is profound. And it is the foundation for everything that follows. Money is energy. We have peeled back the first layer of the illusion. The great misconception that money is a physical object to be chased. We have left the world of paper phantoms behind. This naturally leads to the most important question: if money is not a thing, then what is it? The answer is the key that unlocks the door to true, lasting prosperity. And it is this: money is energy. Now, before your mind dismisses that as a vague, esoteric concept, let's ground it in a reality you can feel and understand. Think of a radio. The air around you is filled with countless radio stations, each broadcasting music, news, and conversation on a specific frequency. You cannot see them. You cannot touch them. But they are undeniably real. To experience a particular station, you don't chase it down the street or try to capture it in a net. You simply take your receiver, your radio, and you tune its dial to match the frequency of the station you wish to hear. In this analogy, wealth is a radio station. It is perpetually broadcasting the frequency of abundance, of opportunity, of well-being, of more than enough. Scarcity is also a radio station, broadcasting on a completely different frequency. A signal of anxiety, of struggle, of never enough. The universe does not decide which station you listen to. You do. Your state of being is the dial, and you are constantly tuning it, whether you are aware of it or not. To truly grasp this, we must accept a fundamental truth about the universe itself. Everything is energy. The chair you are sitting on, the air you are breathing, the body you inhabit. All of it appears solid. But on a quantum level, it is a whirlwind of vibrating energy. It is 999% empty space, populated by atoms and molecules dancing in an intricate, energetic ballet. Solidity is an illusion, a sensory experience created by the incredibly rapid vibration of these energy packets. Your thoughts are not exempt from this universal law. Every thought you think is a pulse of energy, an electrical impulse in the brain. Your emotions are even more powerful. They are literally energy in motion. Emotion. They are chemical and energetic waves that wash through your entire body, creating a distinct vibrational field around you. You have felt this. You have walked into a room after an argument and you could cut the tension with a knife. You weren't seeing anything, but you were feeling the dense, heavy energy left in the room. Likewise, you have been around a person who is genuinely joyful, and their lightness, their radiant energy, is palpable and contagious. We are not solid beings walking through a solid world. We are fields of vibrating energy interacting with a vast, interconnected sea of energy. And money is simply one current within this cosmic ocean. This is where the distinction becomes critical. Just as the radio stations broadcast on different frequencies, so do the states of being we call abundance and scarcity. They each have a unique and unmistakable energetic signature. The frequency of scarcity feels heavy. It is constricting, anxious, and fearful. It is the knot in your stomach when you look at your bills. It is the frantic, desperate energy of chasing a deadline or a sale. It is the bitterness of envy and the hopelessness of despair. It is the feeling of a clenched fist, trying to hold on tightly to what little you have. This frequency is generated by thoughts like, I can't afford that. It's so hard to make ends meet. There's never enough to go around. Or, why do they have it so easy? When you are thinking these thoughts and feeling these emotions, you are calibrating your receiver to the scarcity station. You are broadcasting a signal of lack out into the universe. The frequency of abundance, on the other hand, is the complete opposite. It feels light. It is expansive, peaceful, and trusting. It is the feeling of an open hand, ready to give and receive. It is the warmth of gratitude for what you already have, no matter how small it may seem. It is the calm confidence that all your needs are, and always will be, met. It is the joy of seeing others succeed, knowing that their success is proof of what is possible. It is the frequency of love, of appreciation, of worthiness. This signature is generated by thoughts like, there is always more where that came from. I am so grateful for the money that flows to me. I am open and receptive to all good. And the universe is abundant. And I am a part of it. When this is your dominant state of being, you have tuned your dial to the frequency of wealth. You have become a vibrational match to the very thing you desire. This mechanism is often called the law of attraction, but a more accurate term might be the law of resonance. It is not about magically pulling things out of the ether. It is about becoming a vibrational match for what is already there. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. You are a living, breathing, broadcasting tower. And your signal is composed of your dominant thoughts and, more importantly, your feelings. This is where the profound teachings in audiobooks like Ask and It is given by Esther and Jerry Hicks become so practical. They introduce the concept of an emotional guidance scale, which is essentially a map of these different frequencies. At the very bottom of the scale, you have the lowest vibrations: fear, grief, despair, powerlessness. As you move up, you encounter anger, blame, and worry. Moving higher still, you find hopefulness, optimism, and positive expectation. And at the very top, you have the highest frequencies of all joy, love, appreciation, and empowerment. Your emotional state at any given moment is a literal indicator of your point of attraction. It's your energetic GPS, telling you exactly what frequency you are broadcasting. The secret is not to try and jump from despair to joy in a single leap, which is impossible and only leads to more frustration. The secret is to simply reach for the next, better feeling thought. If you feel powerless, reaching for a thought of anger is actually a step up in vibration. If you feel frustrated, reaching for a sense of hopefulness is a victory. The work is to gently, consistently, and deliberately climb this emotional ladder, listening to these concepts. Immersing yourself in them helps to retrain your mind to find that next better feeling. To make it a habit, to slowly but surely turn the dial of your being toward the station of abundance. Ultimately, money, which is simply the energy of abundance, objectified, can only flow where there is energetic compatibility. It cannot and will not flow into a container that is vibrating with the energy of lack. That would defy the laws of the universe. It is not personal. The universe is not withholding wealth from you as a punishment or a test. It is simply responding to the signal you are sending out. If your energetic signature screams, "I am not worthy, there is not enough, and I am afraid," then the universe can only deliver experiences that match that signature. The work, therefore, is never about manipulating the external world. It's not about finding the perfect job or the perfect investment strategy first. It is about changing your own energetic output. It is about doing the internal work to cleanse your own vibration, to heal the beliefs that create feelings of unworthiness, to practice the emotions of gratitude and joy until they become your default state. You must become an energetic match for wealth before wealth can physically appear. You must tune yourself to the frequency so that the music of abundance can finally play in your life. So we have now taken the next step. We have moved from the illusion of money as an object to the truth of money as an energy. We understand that this energy operates on specific frequencies, and that our emotional state is the key indicator of which frequency we are tuned to. The law is simple, like attracts like. Your vibration is your point of attraction. This is a powerful, transformative concept, but it also raises a crucial question. Where does this frequency, this energetic signature, truly originate? How do we get our hands on the control panel, the source of this entire broadcast? The command center for your personal universe resides in the one place where you have true dominion. It is the birthplace of all experience. It is found in your consciousness. We have arrived at the source. We followed the trail from the paper phantom of money to its true nature as energy. And then we traced that energy back to its origin point. We stand now at the control panel of reality, the engine room of creation. It is the one asset you truly possess, the one thing no one can ever take from you, and the one force responsible for every single circumstance in your life. We are talking about your consciousness. And when we speak of consciousness, we are not simply talking about being awake versus being asleep. We are talking about the quality and nature of your awareness itself. It is the silent, observing presence behind your thoughts, the canvas upon which your feelings are painted. And here is the secret that turns the world on its head. Your consciousness is the ultimate currency. You do not buy things with dollars or cents. You buy your entire life experience with the quality of your attention and the nature of your awareness. Think about the modern world for a moment. What is the one commodity more valuable than gold, more sought after than oil? It is your attention. Every corporation, Every social media app, every news headline is in a relentless battle for a few seconds of your conscious focus. They know, on a deep, intuitive level, that your attention is the most creative force you possess. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. And where your energy flows, your life goes. You are, at every moment of every day, spending your consciousness. When you spend 30 minutes worrying about a bill, you have just purchased 30 minutes of the experience of lack and anxiety. When you invest 5 minutes in genuine gratitude for the roof over your head, you have just purchased 5 minutes of the experience of abundance and security. Your life, when you look back on it, will be nothing more than the sum total of what you chose to pay attention to. The great tragedy is that most of us are spending this priceless currency unconsciously, allowing our attention to be hijacked by fear, by media, by the opinions of others. To become a conscious creator of your life is to become a conscious spender of your attention. It means deliberately withdrawing your focus from evidence of lack and investing it, richly and wholly, in the reality you wish to create. This leads us to one of the most powerful metaphysical truths you will ever encounter. The world is a mirror. Your external reality is nothing more than a flawless, instantaneous reflection of your inner state of consciousness. You do not see the world as it is. You see the world as you are. If your consciousness is saturated with thoughts of fear and unworthiness, the mirror of the world must, by law, reflect back to you a world that appears frightening and dismissive of your worth. It will show you layoffs, unexpected bills, and missed opportunities. If, on the other hand, your consciousness is filled with feelings of trust, love, and abundance, the world must reflect back a reality that is supportive, loving, and prosperous. It will show you unexpected checks, helpful people, and synchronous opportunities. Many people spend their lives trying to change the reflection in the mirror. They hustle, they grind, they struggle, they fight. This is like standing in front of a mirror with a frown on your face and screaming at your reflection to smile. It is an act of insanity. The reflection cannot smile first. You must generate the smile within your own consciousness. And the mirror will then have no choice but to reflect it back to you perfectly. The struggle to get money is the act of trying to force the mirror to change. The art of allowing wealth is the act of changing your own inner state and trusting the mirror to do its job. There is perhaps no greater teacher of this principle than the 20th century mystic Neville Goddard. To listen to the audiobook of his masterpiece, The Power of Awareness, is to receive a direct transmission of this truth, a literal user's manual for the creative power of consciousness. Neville's central, unwavering premise is, this consciousness is the one and only reality. He did not mean this as a metaphor. He meant it literally. The world you see around you, the facts of your life, are not solid, immutable reality. They are merely past consciousness, pushed out and hardened into form. The creative power is not in the external world. It is in your consciousness. Right here, right now. Neville's famous technique for applying this law is the art of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is a universe away from mere positive thinking. It is not thinking of what you want. It is thinking from what you want. You must ask yourself, what would the feeling be like if it were true that I am now financially free and abundant? What is that state of consciousness? It might be a feeling of relief, of peace, of giddy freedom, of quiet confidence. Your work is not to get the money, but to occupy that state of consciousness, to inhabit that feeling of relief and freedom now, even in the midst of contrary evidence from the physical world. You must close your eyes to the objective world and open your inner senses. to the subjective reality of your wish fulfilled. By dwelling in that state, by making it your mental home, you are creating a new cause, a new vibrational signature that the universe, the great mirror, must eventually reflect back to you as your physical reality. This is the ultimate creative act. This brings us to the great reversal of cause and effect. We have been taught to believe that things and circumstances create our state of consciousness. We think, when I get the $1 million, then I will feel secure. When I get the promotion, then I will feel worthy. When my debts are paid, then I will feel peaceful. This is placing consciousness at the effect of the material world, making you a powerless victim of circumstance. But the law works in precisely the opposite way. Your state of consciousness is the cause, and the material world is the effect. You must first generate the feeling of security, independent of your bank account. For security to manifest in your financial life, you must first feel worthy, deep in your bones, for the world to bring you opportunities that reflect that worthiness. Money does not create a wealthy consciousness. A wealthy consciousness creates money. Money is the shadow. Your consciousness is the body that casts it. For your entire life, you may have been frantically chasing the shadow on the ground, trying to pin it down, not realizing that all you ever had to do was stand up straight. Therefore, we have identified the true capital, the ultimate currency with which you create your entire existence. It is not paper. It is not gold. It is not digital code. It is the focused, intentional application of your own wonderful human consciousness. It is the supreme power of awareness, by understanding the world as a mirror and learning, through the profound yet simple techniques taught by masters like Neville Goddard, to assume the feeling of your wish already being a fact. You move from being a pawn in the game of life to being its co-creator. You stop trying to manipulate the reflection, and you begin to cultivate the source. This is the seat of all power. But if our state of consciousness is this creative force, if it is the grand architect of our lives, then what are the tools it uses? What are the actual bricks and mortar we use to construct this inner temple of being, which will then be built on the plains of our outer world? The answer lies in the two most fundamental builders of our reality, our beliefs and our thoughts. If your consciousness is the grand architect of your life, then it must have tools to work with, a plan to follow. The grandest designs of consciousness are rendered into reality using two fundamental materials: thoughts and beliefs. Think of it this way. Your core beliefs are the master blueprint, the architectural drawings for the house of your life. Your thoughts are the individual bricks, laid one by one, day after day. A single thought, like a single brick, may seem insignificant, but thousands upon thousands of them, laid consistently over time according to the blueprint of a belief, create the unshakable structures of your experience. The challenge is that for most of us, this construction has been happening on autopilot. The architect has been working from a blueprint that was handed down to us in childhood, a plan we never consciously examined, let alone approved. We live inside a financial reality built from these inherited materials, wondering why the roof leaks and the walls feel like they're closing in, never realizing we hold the power to redraw the entire plan. So what, precisely, is a belief? A belief is not a truth. It is not a fact. A belief is simply a thought that you have thought over and over and over again. It is a conclusion you have come to, often based on secondhand evidence from your parents, your culture, or a painful early experience. And you have repeated this conclusion so many times that it has dropped from your conscious mind into your powerful subconscious. It has become a program, an automatic assumption about the way reality works. It's exactly like learning to drive a car. At first, Every single action is conscious and deliberate. You think about your hands on the wheel, your foot on the pedal, checking the mirrors. But after enough repetition, the process becomes automatic. You can drive for miles while thinking about something else entirely. Because the driving program has been installed in your subconscious, your beliefs about money are exactly the same. They are programs running in the background, making thousands of micro decisions for you every day, guiding your feelings, your actions, and your perceptions, all without your conscious consent. You didn't choose most of these beliefs. You downloaded them before you even had a functional firewall. Let's begin the work of excavation. Let's shine a light on some of the most common and destructive limiting beliefs. The toxic programs that create a reality of financial struggle, as I name them. Don't just hear the words. Feel them. See if any of them cause a flicker of recognition inside you, like a bell being rung in a distant room. The first is the famous misquote, "Money is the root of all evil." This belief sets up an impossible internal conflict. How can you possibly attract and welcome something into your life that your subconscious mind has labeled as the source of all corruption and wrongdoing? To become wealthy would mean to become evil. So, your subconscious, in an act of self-preservation, will sabotage your every effort to attain it. Another pervasive belief is that rich people are greedy, selfish, or dishonest. If your identity is that of a good, kind, and moral person, this belief forces you to choose between being good and being wealthy. You will unconsciously push money away to maintain your sense of virtue. Then there is the insidious identity statement. I'm just not good with money. When you say this, it's not a mere observation. It is a command to your subconscious mind. It is a self-fulfilling prophecy, and your subconscious will work tirelessly to prove you right, orchestrating poor decisions and financial mishaps to align your reality with your stated identity. A huge one is the belief that money is scarce and hard to come by. If this is your blueprint, your brain will actively filter your perception to show you a world of struggle, competition, and difficulty, making you blind to the ease and opportunity that exists all around you. But perhaps the deepest and most painful of all is the quiet whisper, "I don't deserve to be wealthy." This belief attacks your fundamental self-worth, installing an energetic ceiling on how much good you are allowed to receive. You might get a small windfall, but you will quickly find a way to get rid of it, to return to your familiar baseline of what you deserve, because your internal thermostat is set to lack. These beliefs are the faulty wiring in your financial home, guaranteed to short-circuit any real power that tries to flow through. The mechanism by which these beliefs shape your world is not magic. It is neuroscience. Your beliefs function as a perceptual filter. They are like a pair of sunglasses that you are wearing, and you have forgotten you have them on. If you are wearing sunglasses with dark, gray lenses tinted with the belief money is scarce, you will look out at the world and everything will appear gray and scarce. Your brain contains a network of neurons called the reticular activating system, or RAS. Think of it as your brain's personal gatekeeper. It is responsible for filtering the billions of bits of data that bombard your senses every second and only allowing in what it deems important. And what does it deem important? Whatever matches your existing beliefs. So if you believe opportunities are rare, your RAS will literally edit out and make you blind to the opportunities right in front of your face. It is why one person can walk down a street and see nothing but litter and struggle, while another person can walk down the very same street and see a business opportunity, a potential friendship, and architectural beauty. They are not in different worlds. They are operating with different perceptual filters, dictated by different core beliefs. This is where the groundbreaking work of Dr. Joe Dispenza, which you can explore in depth in audiobooks, like Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, becomes so profoundly illuminating. He states, simply and powerfully, that your personality creates your personal reality. And what is your personality? It is how you think, act, and feel. He explains that as you repeatedly think the same thoughts, you cause specific sets of neurons in your brain to fire. And as they fire together, they begin to wire together, forming hardened neural networks. A belief, like, "It's hard to make money," is not just an abstract idea. It is a physical, neurological circuit in your brain. This is why it feels so real, so true. You have a brain that is literally hardwired for struggle. This is the habit of being yourself. You wake up every morning, and the same thoughts trigger the same chemical feelings of anxiety or worry, which then cause you to think more of those same thoughts, creating a feedback loop that keeps you anchored to your past and recreating the same reality, day after day. But here is the magnificent hope he offers: you can, with conscious effort, unwire the old and build a new brain. Through meditation and mental rehearsal, by consciously choosing new thoughts, and this is the critical component, marrying them with an elevated emotion like joy or gratitude, you can begin to prune away the old neural pathways and sprout new ones. You can literally install a new neurological operating system, one that is wired to see opportunity, to feel worthy, and to experience gratitude. You can break the habit of being the old you and begin the process of becoming the new, abundant you. We can now return to our metaphor of the garden. For years, perhaps your entire life, you have been living in a mind that is like a plot of land with toxic, acidic soil, the soil of limiting beliefs. You may have tried to plant the seeds of positive thoughts, reading a book or saying an affirmation, but you planted them in this infertile ground, and then wondered why you only harvested weeds of lack, frustration, and debt. The work of a master gardener does not begin with planting new seeds. It begins with testing, amending, and enriching the soil itself. This process of uncovering your limiting beliefs is that crucial first step. We have taken soil sample. We have unearthed the faulty blueprint. We are now aware of the toxic architecture that has been silently shaping our lives. And this awareness is the beginning of freedom. It brings us to the most practical and empowering question of all. Now that we have identified the problem, how do we fix it? Now that we see the blueprint is flawed, how exactly do we begin the demolition and reconstruction? How do we actively, consciously, and methodically rewrite the very architecture of our financial reality? We have now journeyed into the very bedrock of our mind and uncovered the faulty blueprints, the limiting beliefs that have silently dictated the terms of our financial lives. To be aware of them is the first giant leap toward freedom. But awareness alone is not enough. Now, we enter the reconstruction phase. This is where we roll up our sleeves, put on our hard hats, and consciously, deliberately, begin the joyous work of building a new inner reality. This is not a passive process of waiting for things to change. It is the active process of becoming the change, like renovating a house. You cannot simply paint over rotting wood and cracked foundations. You must first tear out the old structures to make way for the new. This is the demolition and reconstruction of the self. And it is the most rewarding work you will ever do. Our first tool is a metaphorical shovel. We will call it the dig site technique, a method for excavating a belief right down to its root and robbing it of its power over you. I want you to choose one of the limiting beliefs that resonated with you from our last session. Perhaps it's "I'm not good with money." Hold that belief in your mind. Now, the first thing we do is question its absolute truth. Ask yourself, is it 100% irrefutably true that I have never been good with money? Have you ever saved up for something you wanted? Have you ever paid a bill on time? Have you ever made a wise purchasing decision? No matter how small, the moment you find even one single exception, the belief is no longer an absolute truth. It is merely an overgeneralized opinion. It begins to crumble. The next and most crucial step is to dig for its origin. Ask yourself, where did I first learn this idea? Who handed me this belief? Close your eyes and travel back. Do you remember hearing your parents argue about not having enough? Did you feel the tension in your home whenever bills were mentioned? Did a teacher, a friend, or a relative make a casual, cutting remark about your abilities? Did you make a mistake with money as a young adult and then make a vow to yourself that you were simply bad at it? The goal here is not to assign blame, but to achieve separation. The moment you can see that this belief was something external that you absorbed, something you learned, you realize it is not an innate part of who you are. It's not your belief. It is a second-hand piece of programming, a dusty old coat that someone else gave you. And now, as a conscious adult, you have the absolute right to take it off and discard it. Once we have loosened the foundations of the old beliefs, we must begin to install new ones. This is often done through affirmations, a tool that is frequently misunderstood and misused. Many people give up on affirmations because they feel like they are lying to themselves. If you are deeply in debt, standing in front of a mirror and robotically chanting, "I am a multimillionaire," can feel ridiculous. Your subconscious mind, the powerful gatekeeper, will immediately reject it because the vibrational gap is too wide. The art of the potent affirmation is not in lying to yourself, but in gently, persistently, guiding yourself toward a more empowering truth. One way is to use bridge affirmations. Instead of a giant leap, you build a bridge. So instead of "I am fabulously wealthy," you might start, "I am open and willing to learn new ways to create abundance." Or, "I am in the process of becoming an excellent financial manager." These statements feel more believable, more possible, and your subconscious is more likely to accept them. But the real secret, the ingredient that turns a string of words into a creative force, is emotion. You must infuse your affirmations with the feeling of them already being true. When you say, "I am a magnet for wonderful opportunities," don't just say the words. Feel a sense of excitement in your chest. Feel a tingling of possibility. Imagine what it feels like to be a magnet, to have good things drawn to you effortlessly. This emotional cocktail is what begins to literally rewire your brain, to fire and wire new neural pathways that match this new reality. It is the feeling that is the prayer. This is where the direct, humorous, and powerfully practical wisdom from an audiobook like Jen Sincero's "You Are a Badass at Making Money" can be a game changer. Sincero has a gift for taking these spiritual and psychological concepts and stripping away the fluffy, overly gentle language, replacing it with a rock and roll attitude of empowerment. She encourages you to get loud, get bold, and get personal with your new beliefs. One of the most powerful exercises she inspires is the creation of a new financial manifesto. This is not just a list of affirmations. It is a declaration of your new identity. It is a new story you write for yourself. You can even write a letter directly to money, personifying it, redefining your relationship with it. Dear money, I am so sorry for all the years I called you evil and hard to get. I see now that you are a beautiful energy of exchange that allows for wonderful experiences. I welcome you into my life. I will treat you with respect. I will use you for good. And I will allow you to flow to me and through me with joy and ease. You then create powerful, present tense identity statements. I am a joyful and masterful creator of wealth. My income increases constantly as I provide more and more value to the world. I am a grateful giver and an excellent receiver. Listening to Sincero's work is like having a personal coach in your ear, cheering you on, calling you out on your old, tired excuses, and daring you to step into the powerful, wealth-creating badass you were always meant to be. Finally, there is a powerful and often neglected piece of this reconstruction process: the energetic release of forgiveness. Holding on to guilt, shame, or regret about past financial mistakes is like trying to build a new house while chained to the rubble of the old one. This old, heavy energy anchors you vibrationally to your past failures. Likewise, holding on to anger or resentment toward your parents or anyone else for the limiting beliefs they may have passed on to you also keeps you tethered to that old energy. Forgiveness, in this context, is not about condoning bad behavior. It is a profoundly selfish act. It is about cutting the energetic cords that bind you to the past so that you can be free to create a new future. You can do this right now. Take a deep breath and say, either out loud or in your heart, I completely forgive myself for any and all financial errors I have ever made. I was operating with the knowledge, awareness, and beliefs that I had at the time. I did the best I could. I now release all guilt and shame, and I set myself free. Then, extend that forgiveness outwards. I forgive anyone and everyone who may have taught me to be afraid of money or to doubt my own worth. They were also operating from their own level of awareness. I release all blame. I release all resentment, and I claim my power back. Feel the lightness that comes with that release. That is the feeling of your vibrational set point rising. So the renovation is underway. We have dug deep to find the origins of our beliefs, robbing them of their power. We have begun the process of installing new, more empowering beliefs, not just with our words, but with the full force of our emotions. We have written a new declaration of who we choose to be in relation to wealth, inspired by the bold energy of modern masters. And we have performed the essential act of forgiveness, releasing the dead weight of the past. The old, toxic architecture of our inner world is being dismantled, and a new, magnificent structure is beginning to take shape. This new structure has a new energetic potential, a new resonant frequency. And this brings us to the next most vital question. Now that we have started to change the very blueprint of our thoughts and beliefs, how do we infuse this new architecture with raw power? How do we amplify this new signal so that the entire universe can hear it loud and clear? We do it by plugging it into the most powerful fuel source of all, the creative, magnetic, and undeniable force of our emotions. We have successfully redrawn the blueprints of our mind, laying the foundation for a new reality with new beliefs and conscious thoughts. But a blueprint, no matter how beautiful, is just a piece of paper. The most magnificent architectural plan is powerless until the electricity is turned on, until the structure is infused with the energy that brings it to life. In the architecture of consciousness, that electricity, that raw, creative power, is emotion. If a thought is the car, then emotion is the fuel. You can have a perfectly designed, aerodynamic vehicle, but if the tank is empty, it will remain motionless in the driveway. It is your feelings, not your thoughts alone, that launch your desires into the universe and magnetize their physical return. This is the missing piece for so many who try to change their lives. They meticulously design the car of their affirmations, but they forget to fill the tank with the high-octane fuel of genuine, heartfelt emotion. This is because the universe does not speak your native language. It does not speak English, Spanish, or Mandarin. The universe speaks the universal language of frequency, which is translated through the heart of humanity as feeling. You can stand in your room and repeat the words "I am wealthy" 1,000 times. But if you are feeling a deep, gut-wrenching knot of anxiety about your rent payment. You are creating a chaotic, contradictory signal. Your words are broadcasting a tiny, powerless whisper of wealth, while your body, the most powerful transmitter you have, is screaming a vibrational roar of lack and fear. And the universe, in its perfect, impersonal logic, always, without fail, responds to the stronger, true vibration. It responds to the feeling. It is like telling someone you love them while your fists are clenched and your face is contorted with anger. The feeling betrays the words. The feeling is the truth of your broadcast. Your point of attraction is never what you say you want. It is always where you are, emotionally, until you learn to consciously generate the feeling of abundance. You will be stuck in a cycle of wanting, which only creates more wanting. So how do we do this? How do we generate the feeling of a reality that has not yet materialized? This is the alchemical secret. The art of feeling it real. It is about using your imagination not just to see pictures, but to evoke a genuine emotional state. Let's try it. I don't want you to visualize a pile of money, which is just another paper phantom. I want you to imagine a scenario that implies your wish has been fulfilled. Imagine it is a Tuesday morning. The sun is streaming through your window, and you wake up naturally, with no alarm clock buzzing in your ear, because you have absolutely nowhere you have to be. You feel a deep sense of peace and freedom in your body. Or imagine logging into a travel website, finding the perfect, luxurious vacation for you and your loved ones, and booking it instantly without even glancing at the price. Feel the surge of joyful excitement and generosity in that moment. Or perhaps you imagine receiving a call about a family member's medical need, and you are able to say, with calm, loving confidence, "I've got it. Don't worry about a thing." What is the feeling that washes over you in that moment? Is it profound relief? Is it expansive freedom? Is it a quiet, powerful sense of security? That feeling, that specific, palpable, visceral feeling is the prize. That is the frequency. Your work is to capture that feeling, to savor it, to marinate in it, to make it your home. By generating that emotion in your body now, you are sending a clear, powerful, and coherent signal to the universe that this is who you are. Now, you are becoming a vibrational match to the experience before it happens, which is the one and only thing that causes it to happen. This is where the teachings popularized in audiobooks like the Law of Attraction, which share the wisdom of the collective consciousness known as Abraham Hicks, provide a brilliant and practical framework. They teach us to view our emotions not as random, chaotic events, but as a magnificent emotional guidance system. It's like a spiritual GPS. It's incredibly simple. When you feel a negative emotion, worry, doubt, frustration, anger, it is not a sign that you are being punished or that you are a bad person. It is simply your internal guidance system giving you feedback. It is a gentle vibration saying, beep. The thought you are currently thinking is out of vibrational alignment with your true self and the reality you desire to create. You are pointing your canoe toward the rocks. That's all. It's just information. Conversely, when you feel a positive emotion, excitement, passion, peace, joy, your guidance system is vibrating. Yes, the thought you are thinking right now is in perfect alignment with who you are and what you want. Keep paddling in this direction. This reframes your entire relationship with your feelings. You no longer need to fear negative emotions. You can thank them for the guidance they provide, and then gently choose a slightly better feeling thought to begin changing your direction. This leads to their most profound, and for many, most radical piece of advice. Your most important work is to get happy, to deliberately and systematically prioritize feeling good. From a purely practical, results-oriented perspective. Cultivating a state of joy is the most effective thing you can do to attract wealth. Because joy is one of the highest frequencies you can possibly embody. It tunes your receiver directly to the station of miracles and abundance. This practice also clarifies the vast chasm between the energy of wanting and the energy of having. To want something is to exist in a state of not having it. The feeling of wanting is a declaration of absence. It is a prayer of lack. Every time you say, "I want more money," you are affirming the reality of not having enough money. You are vibrating in the frequency of lack. And the universe, the great mirror, can only reflect more lack back to you. The quantum leap. The secret to collapsing the time it takes for your desire to manifest is to shift your emotional state from wanting to having. This is done in consciousness. It is the shift from, "I really want to feel financially secure," to, "I am going to close my eyes and savor the feeling of security right now, for as long as I can." That shift, from the feeling of absence to the feeling of presence, is the most powerful creative act a human being can perform. It is telling the universe that the deal is done. The wish is fulfilled. And you are simply waiting for the physical evidence to catch up to your emotional truth. So we see now that our feelings are not just decorative, fleeting experiences. They are the very engine of creation. They are the language that God, the universe, the source, understands most clearly. Our emotions are our compass, our prayer, and our ultimate point of attraction, our primary mission. Then, is not to chase after things in the outside world, but to become masterful cultivators of our inner emotional landscape, to learn how to generate the feelings of our dreams come true long before they are physically present. This brings us to a vital question. If our job is to cultivate positive emotions, is there one that is more powerful than the others? Is there a master key? A specific frequency that acts as a universal amplifier for all good things and aligns us most directly with the flow of universal abundance? The answer is a resounding yes. It is the beginning and the end of all spiritual practice. It is the frequency of gratitude. We have arrived at the master key. If emotion is the fuel for creation, then there is one specific emotional frequency that is more potent, more magnetic, and more transformative than any other. It is the alpha and the omega of conscious creation, the ultimate state of receivership, and the most direct path to a life of abundance. It is the profound, world-altering power of gratitude. Now, we are not speaking here of the polite, mechanical thank you that we are taught as children. We are speaking of gratitude as a state of being, as a conscious practice, as an alchemical force. Gratitude is the conscious antidote to the poison of lack. It is the spiritual technology that transforms what we have into more than enough. While the mind of lack scans the world for what is missing, the heart of gratitude scans the world for what is present. And in doing so, it opens the floodgates of the universe. It is the frequency that ends the desperate energy of wanting and begins the peaceful, magnetic energy of having. The power of gratitude is instantaneous because its first and most immediate effect is a quantum shift in your focus. Your mind, left to its own devices and programmed by millennia of survival instinct, is a relentless problem-finding machine. It is constantly scanning your environment, your body, and your life for what is wrong, what is dangerous, what is missing. When you are in a state of financial fear, your focus is lasered in on the bills you cannot pay, the things you cannot afford, the opportunities you have lost. This focus generates the heavy, constricting emotions of lack, which, as we know, can only attract more circumstances to feel lacking about. Gratitude is the pattern interrupt. It is the act of consciously grabbing the steering wheel of your mind and turning it 180 degrees. When you stop, take a deep breath and genuinely feel a wave of gratitude for the simple fact that you are alive, for the air filling your lungs, for the heart beating in your chest without any effort on your part. You have performed a miracle. You have instantly shifted your entire energetic broadcast from the frequency of not enough to the frequency of so much. This is not about pretending your problems don't exist. It is about deliberately choosing a more powerful energetic starting point from which to deal with them. You cannot solve a problem from within the same low-frequency consciousness that created it. Gratitude elevates you, giving you the perspective and the power to find solutions you were blind to moments before. This personal shift in focus taps into a universal law, the law of appreciation. That which you appreciate appreciates. This is not just a clever play on words, it is a fundamental principle of energy. Think of the universe as a benevolent, infinite giver. If this giver bestows a gift upon someone, and that person complains about it, tosses it aside, or ignores it completely, how inclined will the giver be to bestow another gift? But if the receiver's face lights up, if they cherish the gift, celebrate it, and express their heartfelt joy and appreciation for it, the giver is overcome with delight. The giver's greatest joy is in the giving, and they will want to shower this appreciative soul with more and more gifts, just to experience the joy of their gratitude. Your consciousness of gratitude is a signal to the universe that you are a joyful receiver, that you cherish the gifts you are given, making you the perfect candidate to receive more. On a more scientific level, the act of practicing gratitude literally rewires your brain. It trains your reticular activating system, your mental gatekeeper, to start looking for and noticing more things to be grateful for. You begin to see the blessings that were hidden in plain sight all along. The world doesn't change, but your perception of it does. And since your perception is your reality, your entire world transforms. The key to unlocking this power is in the practice, and this is where the simple, profound exercises detailed in audiobooks like The Magic by Rhonda Byrne can serve as a practical guide. The secret to potent gratitude is specificity. Vague gratitude has very little power. Saying I'm grateful for my life is nice, but it's too general. The magic happens in the details. Don't just be grateful for your house. Be specifically grateful for the sturdiness of the roof that keeps the rain out, for the soft bed that allows your body to rest and rejuvenate, for the refrigerator that keeps your food fresh, a luxury unknown to almost all of human history. Don't just be grateful for your job. Be grateful for the specific colleague who made you laugh today, for the paycheck that allows you to buy food, for the challenge that is making you smarter and more capable. Byrne's work offers a 28-day journey, a kind of gratitude boot camp that systematically reorients your entire being toward appreciation. Practices like her magic rock technique, where you find a smooth stone and, every night before sleeping, you hold it and recall the single best thing that happened that day, forces your mind to end the day on a peak of positive emotion. Or her magic money practice, where you take a single dollar bill, place a sticker on it, and write a note of gratitude, blessing it to bring immense value to every person it touches. These may seem like simple, even childish games, but they are powerful rituals that fundamentally alter your relationship with the world. They turn the mundane into the miraculous and make you a walking, talking magnet for more miracles. Now we come to the most advanced practice, the master level of this art form. This is the practice of having gratitude for your problems. This is where most people resist. How can I possibly be grateful for my mountain of debt? How can I be grateful for the eviction notice on my door? You are not being asked to be grateful for the painful circumstance itself. You are being asked to be grateful for the gift that is hidden within the challenge. Can you find it in yourself to be grateful for the debt? Because it is forcing you, at long last, to become financially educated and responsible. Can you be grateful for the termination of a job you secretly hated? Because it is finally giving you the push you needed to discover what you truly love to do. Can you be grateful for the experience of hitting rock bottom? Because it is from that solid foundation that you will now build an authentic and unbreakable life. This is the ultimate act of faith. It is a declaration to the universe that you trust the process, that you know that everything is happening for your ultimate good. It transforms you from a victim of circumstance into a powerful alchemist, capable of turning the lead of your struggles into the gold of your wisdom. Therefore, gratitude is not a passive virtue. It is an active, creative force. It is the bridge between the consciousness of lack and the consciousness of abundance. It is the frequency that acknowledges the good that is already present in your life. And in doing so, it acts as a powerful command to the universe to send more of the same. By learning to master our emotional state and anchoring it, deliberately and consistently, in the high frequency of gratitude, we have completed the calibration of our inner world. We have amended the soil of our mind and set our energetic thermostat to abundance. The internal architecture is now sound, the power is on, and the signal is pure. So, what is the next logical step in this magnificent process of creation? Now that our energy is primed and potent, we must give it a clear and compelling direction. We must create the mold into which this energy will flow. It is time to learn the sacred art of crafting your future in the mind's eye. It is time to visualize. We have now arrived at the divine workshop, the sacred studio of the mind where worlds are born. We have calibrated our energy with the master frequency of gratitude, creating a potent, magnetic field of positive emotion. This energy is now humming within us, ready and waiting, like a powerful sculptor standing before a block of marble. But energy without form is chaos. It needs a mold, a blueprint, a clear and compelling destination to pour itself into. This is the role of the sacred faculty of your imagination. We are now moving into the practice of visualization, but we must first redefine it. This is not the aimless, fluffy daydreaming of a child. This is the focused, disciplined, and purposeful act of a master architect. It is the conscious crafting of your future in the mind's eye. The process of creating a reality on the inside so clearly and so consistently that the outside world has no choice but to conform. To understand why this is so much more than wishful thinking, we must understand a fundamental principle of our own biology. Your brain and nervous system do not know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. This is not a spiritual theory. It is a neurological fact. Let's prove it right now. I want you to imagine you are in your kitchen. On the counter is a bright yellow, plump lemon. You pick it up, feeling its cool, waxy skin. You take a sharp knife and slice it in half. Hearing the crisp sound as the blade cuts through the peel, you see the glistening pulp, and the juice begins to run onto the cutting board. Now, bring one of those halves up to your face and smell that sharp, acidic, citrus scent. And now, in your mind, open your mouth and bite deep into the lemon. Taste the explosion of sourness on your tongue. So intense, it makes your eyes water and your jaw clench. If you engaged in that exercise, chances are your mouth is now watering. But there is no lemon. It was all in your mind. Your body, however, produced a real, physiological response, as if the lemon were actually there. This is the secret. When you vividly visualize yourself living in your dream home, driving your dream car, or running your successful business, your brain releases the same neurochemicals, the dopamine of reward, the serotonin of well-being, as if you were actually doing it. You are creating the physiology, the neurology, and the cellular memory of success long before it physically appears. You are teaching your body what your future feels like. This scientific and spiritual principle was masterfully explored by the plastic surgeon Dr. Maxwell Maltz in his revolutionary audiobook, Psycho-Cybernetics. Maltz made a fascinating discovery in his practice. He found that when he performed surgery to fix a scar or change a facial feature, sometimes the patient's life would transform. But other times, the patient would still see themselves as ugly or scarred. They couldn't see the change in the mirror because their inner self-image had not changed. He realized the real surgery needed to happen on the inside. He developed a system for operating in what he called the theater of the mind. He taught his clients to mentally rehearse their desired outcomes. But this was no simple positive thinking. He instructed them to create detailed, realistic mental movies where they saw themselves not just succeeding, but practicing, fumbling, correcting their mistakes, and then ultimately succeeding. This trains the nervous system for the entire process, making the eventual success feel natural and inevitable. Maltz's core concept is that the human brain is a goal-striving mechanism, a servo mechanism, like a self-guided torpedo. It must have a target to aim for. That target is your dominant self-image. If your self-image is, I am someone who is always in debt, your powerful subconscious servo mechanism will unerringly guide you toward decisions and actions that produce more debt. Visualization is the process of consciously creating a new, compelling, and crystal clear target. By repeatedly impressing the image of an abundant, successful, and confident you onto your subconscious, you are giving your inner guidance system a new set of coordinates. It will then begin to work tirelessly, day and night, to steer you toward this new reality, altering your perceptions, guiding your intuition, and bringing resources and opportunities to your attention that you were previously blind to. To make this process truly effective, however, we must move beyond flat, two-dimensional images. We must engage in multi-sensory immersion. The more senses you involve in your mental creation, the more real it becomes to your brain, and the more powerful the signal you send to the universe. Don't just see yourself walking into your beautiful, debt-free home. I want you to be there, in the first person, looking through your own eyes. Feel the cool, smooth handle of the front door in your hand. Hear the satisfying, solid click as it closes behind you, shutting out the old world of worry. Smell the faint scent of fresh paint or your favorite flowers in a vase on the table. See the way the afternoon light streams through the windows, casting patterns on the floor. And most importantly, feel the overwhelming emotion wash over you. The deep, soul-quenching sigh of relief. The feeling of safety. The feeling of, I am home. I am finally home. It is also incredibly powerful to create a short, looped scene of the moment after your wish has been fulfilled. Don't visualize the struggle of getting the money. Visualize the celebration dinner. Feel the warmth of your loved one's hand. Hear the clinking of glasses. Feel the joy and laughter bubbling up in your chest. By repeatedly looping this end scene, you are impressing upon your subconscious the undeniable fact that the goal has already been accomplished. A powerful physical tool to support this inner work is the creation of a vision board. This is a collage of images, words, and pictures that represent the future you are creating. But we must be clear about its function. A vision board is not a magic wishing well that you send out to the universe. Its power is in what it does to you. It is a constant, physical anchor for your mental movie. Every time you glance at it, it should trigger the associated feelings of joy, freedom, and gratitude you cultivated during your visualization. It is a focusing tool that keeps your desired reality at the forefront of your consciousness throughout the day. This practice creates what is known as creative tension. By holding a clear, loving vision of your desired future in your mind, while simultaneously being aware of your present reality. You create a powerful energetic tension, like a stretched cosmic rubber band. The universe, which abhors a vacuum, will seek to resolve this tension. And as long as you remain faithful to your vision and do not snap back into doubt and fear, the only way for the tension to be resolved is for your current reality to be pulled up to meet the level of your magnificent vision. So the process is clear. Visualization is not a passive fantasy, but an active, focused, mental rehearsal that fundamentally rewires our brain and reprograms our subconscious mind for success. We have learned to go beyond mere pictures and create multi-sensory, emotionally rich experiences that convince our bodies that our future is happening now. We have created the energetic blueprint. The plans have been drafted, reviewed, and approved by our highest self. But a blueprint, no matter how perfect, does not build the house. The architect's plans do not magically assemble the bricks and mortar. There must be a bridge between the inner world of our vision and the outer world of physical form. What is that sacred bridge? What is the mechanism that connects being to doing and thought to thing? It is the beautiful, fluid, and often misunderstood dance of inspired action. We have now reached a critical junction in our journey, a point where the inner world of consciousness must meet the outer world of action. It is the question that inevitably arises after deep meditative and creative work. This is all wonderful. But do I just sit on my couch and visualize all day, waiting for a check to materialize out of thin air? The answer is a resounding no. But it comes with a profound and life-altering qualification. Action is indeed a necessary part of the creative process, but the source of that action, the energy from which it is born, is the single most important factor that determines its outcome. Not all action is created equal. There are two fundamentally different types of action in the universe. The first is desperate action, born from the ego's fear. The second is inspired action, born from the soul's wisdom. Understanding the difference between these two is the key to moving from a life of struggle to a life of flow. Let's first dissect the anatomy of desperate action, for it is the mode in which most of the world operates. You know this energy well. It is the culture of the hustle, the daily grind. It feels heavy, forced, like trying to push a giant boulder uphill in the mud. It is the feeling of swimming against a powerful current, exhausting yourself with every stroke. This type of action is fueled by fear and anxiety. It is the belief that it is all up to me. If I don't force this to happen, it will never happen. It is the energy of someone who fundamentally distrusts the universe, believing it to be a stingy and withholding place. This is the consciousness of a person trying to bend reality to their will, to wrestle their desires into existence through sheer effort. It can, at times, produce results. You can build a business through hustle. You can make money through grinding. But these results always come at an immense cost: burnout, chronic stress, damaged health, and fractured relationships. And even when the goal is achieved, it often feels hollow, because the journey was one of battle and strife. The success is tainted with the bitter energy of its creation, and the feeling of not enough strangely persists, simply moving on to the next frantic goal. Now, let us turn to the magnificent alternative: inspired action. This is the energy of the flow state. It feels light, effortless, joyful, and magnetic. If desperate action is swimming against the current, inspired action is floating gracefully in a canoe, paddling gently downstream. You are still taking action. You are still steering your vessel, but the powerful, benevolent current of the universe is doing most of the work. Inspired action does not feel like work at all. It feels like play. It is born from a place of profound trust, from the core belief that I am a co-creator with a supportive universe. The perfect outcome is unfolding through me. And for me, this is the energy of a person who has done the inner work, who has aligned their thoughts and emotions with their desire, and is now joyfully taking the small, obvious steps that appear before them. So how do you recognize inspired action? It has very clear signs. Firstly, the idea will feel light, expansive, or exciting, even if it's a big step that brings up a little fear. The underlying energy is one of positive anticipation, not heavy dread. Secondly, when you engage in the action, you often lose track of time. Hours can feel like minutes. This is the famous flow state, a sign that you are perfectly aligned with your soul's purpose. Thirdly, the path of inspired action is illuminated by synchronicity. As you take one step, the next step magically appears. The right person calls out of the blue. You stumble upon the exact article or video you needed to see. Things just seem to fall into place with an almost startling elegance. You are not pushing the river, you are simply following its intelligent, winding path. The beautiful audiobook The Surrender Experiment by Michael A. Singer is a stunning, real-life testament to the unbelievable power of choosing inspired action over the ego's desperate plans. Singer, a man who just wanted to live a quiet life of meditation in the woods, decided to conduct a radical experiment. He would say yes to whatever life legitimately brought to his doorstep, letting go of his personal preferences and fears. This did not mean he was passive. When opportunities arose, he acted on them, but he never went out and forced them to happen. This path of surrender, of following the flow of inspired action, led him on an unbelievable journey from being a reclusive yogi to becoming the founder and CEO of a multi-billion-dollar medical software company. His story powerfully illustrates a more relatable example. Imagine a woman stuck in a soul-crushing corporate job she hates. Every day she goes to work is an act of desperate action, forcing herself to endure misery for a paycheck. In her spare time, she has a quiet passion for restoring old furniture. The inspired action for her is not necessarily to quit her job, take out a massive loan, and open a huge storefront. That would be the ego's fearful, all-or-nothing approach. The first inspired action might be a gentle, joyful nudge to buy one old chair at a flea market and spend a happy weekend working on it. That's it. Then the next inspired idea comes listed for sale online. It sells quickly. The buyer asks if she can find a matching table. This leads her to another flea market, where she not only finds a table but meets another vendor who has a garage full of furniture she can have for a low price. Do you see the path? It is a series of small, joyful, intuitive steps, with the universe rising up to meet her at every turn. She is following the breadcrumbs of joy, and they are leading her to an entirely new reality, one that her ego could never have meticulously planned. This brings us to the most advanced and paradoxical form of inspired action, the inspired action of doing nothing. There will be times on your journey, after you have set your intention, aligned your energy, and are living in a state of gratitude and visualization, when there are no nudges, there are no intuitive hits. The phone doesn't ring. In these quiet moments, the ego will begin to panic. It will scream, "You have to do something, anything, don't just sit here. You're losing ground." And in that moment, the most powerful, faithful, and truly inspired action you can take is to gently quiet the ego and do absolutely nothing. It is the active choice to trust the silence. It is the knowing that the universe is arranging people, events, and circumstances behind the scenes in ways you cannot possibly comprehend. This conscious, faithful inaction is not laziness. It is an act of supreme trust, a declaration that you know your desire is on its way, and you do not need to frantically meddle with the process. So we see the profound difference. It is never about the franticness of your doing, but always about the alignment of your being. The universe does not reward struggle, it rewards alignment. And this new path, this beautiful dance of following the whispers of inspiration and flowing with the current of the universe, requires one thing above all else. It requires us to gently, lovingly, and consistently pry our own white-knuckled fingers off the steering wheel. To walk this path of ease and grace, we must be willing to let go of the ego's most cherished and toxic addiction, its desperate need for control. We must learn the sacred and liberating art of allowing. We have now learned to follow the path of inspired action, that joyful, effortless flow that feels like being guided by a benevolent current. But to stay in that current, to truly ride its powerful momentum, we must master the most subtle and perhaps most challenging spiritual art of all, the art of allowing. Imagine the universe as a vast, magnificent river, the river of life, and its waters are carrying everything you have ever desired: health, love, joy, and boundless abundance. This river is perpetually flowing towards you, constantly attempting to deliver these blessings to your doorstep. You have placed your order with your intention, and the river is bringing the delivery. But then, what do most of us do? We stand in the middle of this magnificent river, and with the frantic energy of our own ego, we begin to build a dam. We use bricks of worry, mortar of doubt, and a design dictated by our desperate need to control, and then we stand behind our self-made dam, looking at the trickle of water that gets through, and we cry out to the universe, "Why have you forsaken me?" The art of allowing is the conscious, courageous decision to stop building the dam. It is the act of putting down your tools of resistance and letting the river of well-being flow to you, as it has always been trying to do. Let's examine the materials we use to build this dam of resistance, so we can learn to recognize and discard them. The first and most common brick is worry. Worry is a misuse of your divine imagination. It is the act of using your powerful creative faculty to meticulously visualize and feel a future you do not want. It is, in essence, a powerful prayer for what you fear. Every moment you spend worrying, you are sending out a strong, clear, emotionally charged signal to the universe that affirms the reality of lack and disaster, which only attracts more circumstances to worry about. The mortar that holds these bricks together is doubt. Doubt is the energetic cancellation of your desire. It is like carefully placing an order at a fine restaurant, and then 5 minutes later, sticking your head in the kitchen and telling the chef, "I don't think you're capable of making that dish. I doubt the ingredients are fresh. I'm not sure you'll get it right." How can the chef possibly deliver a masterpiece under those conditions? But the biggest and most stubborn part of the dam is our obsession with controlling the how. We send our desire out into the field of infinite possibility, and then we immediately shrink our focus down to one or two logical ways it can manifest. We try to micromanage the cosmos. We decide who should help us, what the email should say, when the phone should ring. By doing this, we are closing ourselves off to the million other, more magical, more miraculous pathways the universe could use to deliver our good. The how is the domain of the universe. Your job is the what, and to align yourself with the feeling of the why. To allow is to release your white-knuckled grip on the how, and to open your hands to the surprising genius of the infinite. It is critical to understand that allowing is not a passive state. It is not about laziness, apathy, or sitting on your hands and abdicating responsibility for your life. Allowing is an intensely active spiritual practice. It is the discipline of holding your high frequency steady, even when the outside world has not yet caught up. It is the focused work of practicing gratitude when your bank account is low, It is the commitment to visualize your success when you've just received a rejection letter. It is the courage to follow a small, inspired nudge, even when you cannot see the 10 steps that come after it. Allowing is the vigilant practice of trust. It is the active and conscious refusal to fall into the familiar, comfortable ruts of worry and doubt. It requires a gentle but firm awareness of your own thoughts, constantly redirecting them away from the dam building of resistance and back toward the open flow of faith. One of the primary reasons we are so bad at allowing is that most of us have a severely atrophied receiving muscle. We live in a culture that often teaches us it is better to give than to receive. While giving is a beautiful and necessary part of the flow, this belief has created a subconscious program that equates receiving with selfishness or weakness. We see it everywhere. Someone gives you a genuine compliment on your shirt, and your immediate reaction is to deflect it. This old thing, I got it on sale. Someone offers to buy you a coffee, and you feel an awkward sense of obligation. Someone offers to help you with a heavy bag, and you insist. No. I've got it. Each of these instances is a small refusal of the universe's flow. Your channel of receiving is clamped shut by old feelings of unworthiness. The universe can only give you what you are willing to receive. It cannot and will not force its blessings upon you. You must become an excellent and joyful receiver. You can start practicing this today. The next time someone offers you a compliment, take a deep breath. Look them in the eye and simply say, "Thank you. That's so kind of you to say." Feel the good energy of their words and let it in. If someone offers a small gesture of kindness, accept it with a gracious heart. Each time you do this, you are strengthening that atrophied muscle. You are sending a new message to the universe. I am worthy of receiving. I am open. I am ready. There is a classic parable that perfectly illustrates the folly of resisting the universe's help. A great flood comes to a town, and one man, a devout believer, climbs to his roof and prays fervently to God to save him. Soon, a man in a rowboat comes by and shouts, "The water is rising, get in. I can take you to safety." The man on the roof shakes his head and replies, "No, thank you. I have prayed to God, and I have faith that God will save me." The water continues to rise. A little later, a motorboat appears. "The dam has broken, get in." "This is your last chance," they yell. Again, the man refuses, saying, "I am waiting for God to save me." Finally, with the water swirling around his feet, a helicopter hovers overhead, lowering a rope ladder. The pilot's voice booms over the loudspeaker. "Grab the ladder. We have to go now." The man waves it away, shouting, "No, God is my savior," inevitably. The man drowns. When he arrives in heaven, he comes before God, confused and distraught. "My Lord," he says, "I was your most faithful servant. I prayed to you and had unwavering faith. Why did you not save me?" And God looks at him with loving compassion and replies, "I sent you a rowboat, a motorboat, and a helicopter. What more were you expecting?" This powerful story shows how we often block our own blessings because they don't arrive in the form we expect. We are so attached to our idea of how help should look that we are blind to the actual help being offered. This connects directly to the profound teachings of Eckhart Tolle in his masterwork, The Power of Now. Tolle teaches that the source of all our suffering is our resistance to the present moment. Allowing is the unconditional acceptance of what is, because it is only within the now that the rowboat and the helicopter can appear. By fighting against our present reality, we miss the salvation it contains. In the end, the art of allowing is the ultimate expression of trust, It is the conscious decision to dismantle our dam of resistance, brick by brick, and to strengthen our ability to joyfully receive. It is the surrender of our ego's tiny, fearful plans in favor of the vast, intelligent, and infinitely creative plans of the universe. This profound trust, this deep knowing that there is a benevolent order to things, naturally opens our perception. We begin to notice the very language of that order, the subtle winks and gentle nods from the cosmos that assure us we are on the right path and that our good is on its way. This brings us directly into the magical and mysterious world of synchronicity. As you begin to master the art of allowing, as you consciously dismantle your dams of resistance and learn to flow with the current of life, something extraordinary begins to happen. The universe starts to talk back. The silence of a cold, indifferent cosmos is replaced by an intimate and playful conversation. This dialogue does not come in human words, but in the magical language of synchronicity. The great psychologist Carl Jung, who coined the term, defined synchronicity as a meaningful coincidence. It is the appearance of two or more events that are not causally related, yet their occurrence together is deeply meaningful to the person experiencing them. These are not mere random chance encounters. They are the universe winking at you. They are signposts on your path, confirming that you are aligned with your purpose. They are the physical evidence that your inner work is registering in the outer world. The proof that when you change your frequency, the symphony of reality changes its tune to harmonize with you. To understand how this is possible, we must release the old, Newtonian idea of the universe as a dead, clockwork machine, a collection of separate parts operating according to predictable, rigid laws. We must instead embrace the understanding of a conscious universe, a unified, interconnected web of infinite energy and intelligence. In this model, everything is connected to everything else. Your own consciousness is not separate from this web. You are a vital, integral part of it. When you do the work we have been discussing, when you clarify your intention, elevate your emotions, visualize your success, and live in a state of grateful allowance, you send powerful, coherent ripples out into this quantum field. Synchronicity occurs at the intersection points. It is where your personal ripple of intention meets the larger, flowing currents of universal intelligence. It is the universe rearranging itself around your new vibration, presenting you with the people, ideas, and opportunities that are now a match for your frequency. Think of it again like a radio. When you are slightly off the frequency of a station, you hear static. When you are perfectly tuned in, you not only hear the music clearly, but you might hear a specific lyric that perfectly answers a question you were just pondering. That is synchronicity. It is a sign that you are perfectly tuned in, that your signal is being received, and that the universal broadcast is responding directly to you. Once you know what to look for, you will begin to see these meaningful coincidences everywhere. They come in many forms. One of the most common is the phenomenon of repeating numbers. You glance at the clock, and it's 11:11. You get a receipt for $22.22. You see the number 444 on a license plate. While some traditions assign specific meanings to these numbers, their primary purpose is often to act as a pattern interrupt. They are a gentle tap on the shoulder from the universe, asking you to pause and pay attention to what you were thinking or feeling in that exact moment. They are a call to presence. Another common form is through overheard conversations or media. You will be wrestling with a problem, and the strangers at the table next to you will begin discussing the perfect solution. You'll turn on the car radio, and a song will play whose lyrics speak directly to your heart, giving you the exact encouragement you needed. Perhaps the most powerful forms of synchronicity involve the timely arrival of people and information. You decide you need to learn a new skill. And the next day, you see an ad for the perfect online course. Deeply discounted. You mention to a friend that you are looking for a new apartment. And she says, "That's amazing. My cousin just decided to rent out his place yesterday. And it's exactly what you're looking for." These are not just lucky breaks. They are divine appointments. They are the effortless outcomes of your energetic alignment. The same intelligence that choreographs the dance of galaxies and the blooming of flowers is choreographing these perfect intersections in your life. The classic adventure novel, The Celestine Prophecy, by James Redfield, is, at its core, a magnificent fictionalized handbook on how to live a life guided by synchronicity. The entire story is a journey where the main character learns, step by step, to stop relying on his logical mind alone, and to start trusting the flow of meaningful coincidences. He learns to pay attention to his intuition, to notice who he feels drawn to speak with, and to see every seemingly chance encounter as a piece of a larger puzzle, guiding him toward his destiny. Listening to this story as an audiobook can be a profoundly transformative experience, because it attunes your own mind to this way of being. It retrains you to view your own life not as a linear, predictable slog, but as a thrilling spiritual adventure. A treasure hunt where the universe itself is leaving you a trail of clues. The book teaches that the key is to follow the feeling of energy and excitement. You move toward the people and situations that feel light, inspiring, and energizing. And you learn to recognize and step back from those that feel heavy, draining, or forced. This intuitive compass is what guides you from one synchronicity to the next, each one providing a new insight or opening a new door. So when these magical events begin to occur in your life, as they inevitably will, how should you react? The first rule is not to overanalyze them with your logical mind. Trying to dissect a synchronicity to find its meaning is like trying to catch a butterfly to study its beauty. The moment you capture it, the life and magic are gone. The meaning of a synchronicity is almost always felt, not thought. It is the feeling of confirmation, the feeling of being on the right track, the feeling of being seen and supported. The most powerful way to engage with a synchronicity is to simply acknowledge it with gratitude. Offer a quiet, internal thank you to the universe. A gentle smile, a knowing nod. This simple acknowledgement is a powerful act of feedback. You are telling the universe, message received. I'm paying attention, keep them coming. It encourages the dialogue. For those who enjoy it, keeping a synchronicity journal can be a powerful practice. Simply jot down the date and the event. The 23rd of June was feeling doubtful about my path. Then a car cut in front of me with a license plate that said, TRSTYSLF, trust yourself. Felt an immediate sense of peace. Oh, what time! Reading through this journal becomes an undeniable testament to the magic at play in your life. It builds a foundation of unshakable faith that you are not alone, that you are being constantly guided, and that the universe is your ultimate collaborator. In the end, synchronicities are the language of an aligned life. They are the breadcrumbs left by a loving universe, leading you home to your highest potential. They are the tangible proof that when you do your inner work, when you change your consciousness, elevate your emotions, and trust the flow, the outer world will literally rearrange itself to reflect, support, and celebrate your journey as you become more fluent in this beautiful, mystical language. As you start to see the constant evidence of a supportive force flowing through every aspect of your life, your perspective on prosperity itself begins to expand. You realize that this universal well-being is not just trying to deliver money. It is trying to deliver joy, health, connection, and purpose. You begin to understand that true wealth is a much grander, more holistic, and more beautiful concept than you ever allowed yourself to imagine. As you become more fluent in the language of the universe, as you learn to follow the trail of synchronistic breadcrumbs, a natural and beautiful expansion of your awareness begins to occur. You start to see the evidence of a benevolent, supportive flow in every corner of your life. This flow, this universal current of well-being, is not just concerned with your bank account. It is concerned with your total experience. This realization brings us to a pivotal moment in our journey, the moment we must shatter our old, narrow definition of wealth and build a new one. A definition vast enough to hold the life we truly desire. For our entire lives, we have been conditioned by society to equate wealth with one thing and one thing only: the number of digits attached to our name. This one-dimensional scorecard has created a world of profound imbalance, and it is time to redefine the entire game. To understand the poverty of this old definition, let's paint a picture. I want you to imagine a person our society would label as the pinnacle of success. A high-powered executive, a titan of industry. This person has a portfolio worth millions. They live in a sprawling, sterile mansion and drive a luxury car that costs more than most people's homes. They are, by all conventional measures, incredibly wealthy. But let's look closer. This person wakes at 5 a.m., not from inspiration, but from the jolt of anxiety, grabbing their phone to answer emails from a different continent before their feet even touch the floor. They work 14-hour days, fueled by caffeine and cortisol, their shoulders perpetually knotted with stress. They have a spouse they rarely connect with, and children they only see for a few fleeting, exhausted moments before bedtime. Their meals are unhealthy food, hastily eaten over a keyboard. They suffer from chronic back pain, insomnia, and high blood pressure. Now, I ask you, standing back and looking at the totality of this human experience, is this person wealthy by any sane definition of a good life? This person is deeply, tragically impoverished. They are poor in time, poor in health, poor in connection, poor in peace. They have successfully accumulated the symbols of wealth, but in the process, they have traded away the very substance of a rich life. This is the great illusion that you must sacrifice true wealth to gain financial wealth. So, if wealth isn't just money, what is it? The most accurate and empowering definition of true wealth is freedom. It is the unconditional freedom to live a full, authentic, and joyous human life. This is a multifaceted freedom. It's a diamond with many sides. It is time freedom, the ability to be the sovereign of your own schedule, to wake without an alarm, to spend an entire afternoon lost in a book or a forest, to be fully present for your child's school play without anxiously checking your phone. It is location freedom, the ability to choose where you want to live and work, to experience the world not as a tourist, but as a resident, whether that means moving to a mountain cabin or a bustling foreign city. It is health freedom, the vibrant energy and physical well-being to actually enjoy your time and your money, to run, to climb, to play, to live without the constant drag of exhaustion and pain. It is relationship freedom, having the time, the emotional capacity, and the presence of mind to cultivate deep, nourishing, and supportive connections with the people you love. And it is creative freedom, the spaciousness to explore your unique talents and passions, not as a side hustle, but as a central part of your existence. These are the true currencies of a life well lived. Money is an incredibly important and valuable tool that can greatly enhance all of these freedoms. But it is not the goal itself. The goal is the freedom. This revolutionary idea was brought into the mainstream by Tim Ferriss in his paradigm-shattering audiobook, The 4-Hour Workweek. Ferris ruthlessly dissects what he calls the deferred life plan. The script our society hands us at birth. Go to school. Get a safe job. Work your fingers to the bone for 40 to 50 years. Save diligently. And then, maybe, if you're lucky, you can retire at 65 and finally begin to live your life. Often with your health and vitality already fading, Ferris exposes this plan for what it is: a trap that encourages us to trade our most valuable years for a promise of a future that may never come. He introduces us to the new rich, a subculture of people who have completely rejected this model. The goal of the new rich isn't to accumulate $1 billion in the bank. Their goal is to live like a billionaire right now. By focusing on lifestyle design, they ask not, how can I make $1 million, but how can I live my dream life? And what is the actual monthly cost of that? Often, the number is far lower than they imagined. The book is a practical manual for achieving this, focusing on ruthless effectiveness rather than mindless effort. It teaches you to apply the 80-20th principle to your work, to eliminate the tasks that waste your time, to automate your income streams, and to design a life that funds your passions today, not in 40 years. Listening to the 4-Hour Workweek is like a splash of cold water to the face. A wake-up call from the trance of conventional ambition, showing you that a life of freedom and adventure is not a distant retirement dream, but a practical possibility for right now. This expanded definition of wealth is not just a more appealing philosophy. It is also a more powerful energetic strategy. When you begin to consciously acknowledge and feel deep gratitude for the non-material wealth you already possess, your entire point of attraction shifts. You take a moment to feel true, heartfelt appreciation for your healthy body that allows you to walk and breathe. You feel a wave of richness for the deep connection you share with a friend. You recognize the immense wealth in having an hour of unscheduled time to simply be. As you marinate in the feeling of this existing abundance, you are vibrating at the frequency of wealth. You are sending a powerful signal to the universe that says, I am already so rich. I am already so blessed. And the universe, which can only match your frequency, responds by sending you more circumstances, people, and yes, financial resources to support and expand the beautiful, rich life you are already acknowledging. Feeling wealthy in your relationships attracts the money to go on wonderful trips with those you love. Feeling wealthy in your health attracts the resources to access even better food and wellness practices. It is a magnificent upward spiral. So we have now shattered the cramped, one-dimensional prison of our old definition of wealth. We have replaced it with a vibrant, holistic, and deeply satisfying vision of a life rich in what truly matters: freedom, health, connection, vitality, and joy. We now understand that money is not the destination, but a vital and wonderful vehicle that can help us travel through this rich landscape. It is a tool, and we are learning to become its master, not its slave. As we stand back and admire this beautiful, expansive new definition of a wealthy life, one question naturally arises. If we have freedom and resources, what do we do with them? What gives this new life its meaning and direction? This brings us to what is perhaps the most precious form of non-material wealth of all. It is the compass that guides all our other choices. It is the profound richness that comes from discovering and courageously living your life's purpose. We have now expanded our vision of wealth to encompass a life of freedom, health, and deep connection. We have designed a beautiful life in our minds. But a life of freedom without direction can feel empty. A life of abundance without meaning can feel hollow. The final and most crucial element of a truly rich life is a sense of purpose. This is not about finding some single grand, intimidating destiny that will be carved on your tombstone. For most of us, purpose is far more intimate. It is the unique music that your soul came here to play. It is the specific flavor of joy and creativity that only you can bring to the world. And the beautiful secret is this: the intersection where your deepest joy meets a deep need in the world is the most fertile soil for prosperity on the entire planet. Living your purpose is not a luxury you can afford once you are wealthy. It is the most direct and joyful path to becoming wealthy in every sense of the word. At the core of this understanding is a simple truth: there is no one else like you. You are a completely unique expression of life, a once-in-an-eternity event. You were born with a unique combination of talent, passions, curiosities, and perspectives. In a world obsessed with competition, this realization is the ultimate freedom. If you are truly living from your authentic purpose, you have no competition. No one can be a better you than you can. This immediately dissolves the scarcity mindset that forces us to compare and compete. The path to discovering this purpose is not found in a career aptitude test, but in the quiet whispers of your own heart. What are you naturally curious about? What activities make you lose all track of time? What injustices in the world make you burn with a desire to help? These are not frivolous distractions. These are cosmic clues. They are the breadcrumbs left by your soul, leading you back to the path you were meant to walk. The thing that brings you the most authentic joy is inextricably linked to the greatest gift you have to offer the world. Your purpose becomes truly powerful when you take this personal joy and channel it into an act of service, using what you love to do to solve a problem, create beauty, inspire, or ease a burden for other people. This generous act of giving value is the fundamental prerequisite for receiving value, in the form of money, back from the world. When you align your life with this authentic purpose, a profound shift occurs in your relationship with the universe. You cease to be a solitary individual trying to force your way through life, and you become a willing and essential channel for universal expression. Think of it this way: the universe, or source energy, has projects it wants to manifest on Earth. It wants to create new art, new healing modalities, new technologies, new ways of connecting. It seeks out aligned and open conduits through which to bring these projects into form. When you say yes to your own unique joy and purpose, you are raising your hand and telling the universe, "Here I am. I am a willing channel for this expression." And the universe always, without fail, funds its projects. The money you need, the resources you require, the collaborators who can help you, all of it begins to flow towards you with astonishing ease. This is because you are no longer just working for yourself. You are now an indispensable part of a divine plan. This understanding removes the immense pressure of having to make it on your own. It's not your job to be the source of the wealth. It is your job to be a clear and open channel through which the wealth can flow. Your primary work is simply to stay aligned with your purpose and to follow the breadcrumbs of joy. This powerful idea is captured brilliantly in the business world by Simon Sinek in his seminal audiobook, Start with Why. Sinek presents a simple model he calls the Golden Circle. He explains that every person and every organization on the planet knows what they do. Some know how they do it, the things that make them special or different, but very few can clearly articulate why they do what they do. Your why is not about making money. That is a result. Your why is your purpose, your cause, your core belief. It is the very reason you get out of bed in the morning. Sinek masterfully argues that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. His classic example is Apple. For decades, they were just a computer company, but their why was to challenge the status quo, to think differently, to empower the individual. We didn't just buy their computers, we bought into their rebellion. their cause. This deep, emotional connection to a purpose is what creates passionate loyalty and allows organizations to achieve extraordinary success. This principle applies just as powerfully to your own life. When you discover and can articulate your personal why, your life gains a powerful sense of clarity and focus. It becomes the filter through which you make all your decisions. You no longer chase after money. Money becomes the natural result of living your why with passion and integrity. Listening to Sinek's work is far more than just getting business advice. It is a profound journey of self-discovery. A tool to help you excavate and articulate the core purpose that will become the powerful engine of your prosperity. This leads us to the great inversion of how we have been taught to approach our lives and careers. The conventional wisdom tells us to go out and find a job that can make us a lot of money, to toil and struggle for decades, so that one day we might have enough time and resources to finally do what brings us joy. This is completely backwards. It is a recipe for a life of quiet desperation. The true law of prosperity works in the opposite direction. The first step is to discover what brings you authentic joy and what allows you to be of service to others in your own unique way. Your job is to pursue that joy and that service with all your heart, and to trust, with unshakable faith, that the money will come as a natural and inevitable consequence of the immense value you are bringing to the world. Money follows joy. Money follows purpose. Money follows service. It cannot work the other way around. To pursue money as the primary goal is to spend your life chasing the shadow on the wall, completely ignorant of the brilliant light of your own soul that is casting it. So we see that finding and living your purpose is not some far-off luxury reserved for the already wealthy. It is the most practical, direct, and joyful path to becoming truly rich in every dimension of your life. It is the ultimate act of alignment, where your personal desires harmonize perfectly with the grand symphony of the universe, and you become a focal point for the flow of infinite abundance. This is a beautiful and empowering truth. However, to pretend that this path is always a smooth, straight, sunlit road would be a disservice. Even when you are perfectly aligned with your purpose, even when you are riding the current of your highest calling, life will present challenges. The river will have rapids, and there will be moments where the flow seems to slow to a trickle, where your faith is tested. How do we navigate these inevitable periods of apparent lack and contrast without losing our hard-won high frequency and falling back into the old, familiar consciousness of fear? This is a crucial skill for anyone committed to this journey. We have now explored the beautiful, flowing, and joyful path of purpose-driven prosperity. It is a magnificent vision of a life lived in alignment with your soul and in harmony with the supportive universe. And it is entirely real and achievable. But we must now address the moments when the path does not feel beautiful or easy. We must talk about the inevitable appearance of contrast. You have been doing the work. You have been meditating, visualizing, practicing gratitude. You feel aligned and hopeful. And then, the phone rings with news of an unexpected expense. A major client pulls out. The money you were counting on doesn't arrive. The flow seems to stop. And in the sudden, deafening silence, the old voices of fear and panic begin to whisper and then to shout. What do you do in this moment? This is perhaps the most critical juncture in your entire journey. Your reaction in this moment will determine whether you spiral back down into the old reality of lack, or whether you use this experience as a powerful springboard into a higher level of abundance. The first and most important truth you must anchor yourself to is this: the appearance of contrast is not a sign that you have failed. It is not a sign that this consciousness stuff doesn't work. It is a natural, necessary, and profoundly valuable part of the creative process. In the teachings of Abraham Hicks, This is explained with a brilliant metaphor, the rocket of desire. Every time you experience something you do not want a bill, you cannot pay. A feeling of being stuck, it launches a powerful rocket of desire for its polar opposite. The experience of not having enough money launches a potent, high-frequency desire for financial freedom and security. In that moment of contrast, you have given the universe a clearer, more powerful, and more specific signal of what you do want. Without the darkness, your desire for the light would not be nearly as strong. So contrast, first and foremost, is a gift of clarity. Secondly, contrast is an invitation from the universe. It is a spiritual pop quiz. It is the universe lovingly presenting you with a circumstance that mirrors your old fears and asking you, who are you now? Are you the old you, who reacts with fear, panic, and a feeling of victimhood? Or are you the new you, who can look this challenge in the eye and choose to respond with faith, trust, and peace? Every moment of contrast is an opportunity to practice your new state of being, to strengthen your muscles of faith, and to prove to yourself and to the cosmos that you are no longer a vibrational match for lack and struggle. This means that in these challenging moments, your reaction is everything. The external event itself is neutral. It is just a fact, a piece of data. It is the meaning you assign to it and the emotional frequency you choose in response to it that dictates what happens next. If you react with a downward spiral of panic, your body is flooded with the chemistry of fear. Your vibration plummets back to the frequency of scarcity. From that low-frequency state, you are a vibrational match only for more problems, more bad news, and more reasons to panic. You have accepted the universe's invitation to recreate your old reality. However, if, in that crucial moment, you can manage to take a breath, to find even a sliver of peace, to hold on to even a shred of trust that a solution is on its way, you are doing the hardest and most important work there is. You are holding your high frequency steady in the face of a low frequency event. By doing so, you remain a vibrational match for a high frequency solution. For the inspired idea, the synchronous phone call, or the unexpected check that cannot possibly find you when you are in a state of panic. Your only job in the moment of contrast is to do whatever it takes to soothe your own vibration. A powerful and practical tool for this is a technique also taught by Abraham Hicks, known as pivoting, when a negative thought or fear rears its head. Like, I'm never going to get out of this mess. The first step is not to fight it or deny it. That just adds resistant energy. The first step is to acknowledge it. Okay, I am feeling fear right now, and I am thinking the thought that I'm stuck. Then, the second step is to gently, lovingly, try to pivot to a thought that feels just a little bit better. You are not trying to leap from fear to elation. You are just reaching for the next rung on the emotional ladder. A pivot thought might be, okay, this is scary, but I have handled difficult situations before, and I have survived. Or perhaps, I do not see the solution with my physical eyes right now, but I am choosing to believe that a solution exists and is on its way to me. Or even simpler, I am choosing to trust that this is happening for my benefit, even if I can't see how yet. This process of pivoting is an act of profound self-compassion. It gently guides your vibration upward, one thought at a time, out of the downward spiral of fear and back into the flow of allowing. The life of J.K. Rowling is one of the most powerful real-world testaments to the magic of holding a vision in the face of overwhelming contrast. Imagine her situation: a newly divorced single mother, living on government assistance, battling clinical depression, and writing her book in cafes to save on heating her apartment. The objective: Physical reality was screaming at her from all sides. You are poor. You are a failure. You are alone. She finished her manuscript for Harry Potter and submitted it to 12 different publishers. And all 12 of them rejected it. The contrast could not have been more extreme. Her reality was a perfect reflection of lack and rejection. But she did not let that external reality dictate her internal state of being. She held fast to the vision and the feeling of the magical world she had created. She believed in her story when no one else did. It was this unwavering faith, this refusal to let the outer world crush her inner vision, that held her in a vibrational state where the 13th publisher could finally say yes. Her story is the ultimate proof that your inner state of being is infinitely more powerful than any outer circumstance. So you must remember this vital truth: your current reality is a rear-view mirror. It is simply a reflection, apprenti, of your past thoughts, beliefs, and vibrations. It is old news. To panic about your current bank balance is like getting a printout from your computer and screaming at the piece of paper, trying to change the words on it. The creative power is not in the printout. The creative power is at the keyboard. Right here, right now. Your current thoughts, and more importantly, your current feelings, are the new data you are inputting. Do not let the old, faded printout of yesterday's reality dictate the new, vibrant data you choose to enter today. Acknowledge the printout, and then turn your full attention and your full power to the keyboard of your own mind and heart. In summary, the appearance of contrast is not a curse. It is a gift of clarity, a cosmic clarifier for your desires, and an invitation to step more fully into the new, powerful consciousness you are cultivating. Your reaction to the contrast is the only thing that matters. And practical tools like pivoting can help you navigate these moments with grace and maintain your alignment. Remember that what you see today is merely an echo of your past energy. Your true power is always in this present moment. As we stand in this present moment, navigating these challenges and consciously choosing our inner state, we discover that we have an even more direct and potent tool at our disposal. It is a tool to declare our new reality into existence, giving form and structure to our energy with the awesome, world-building power of our own spoken word. It is time to explore the magic of I Am. We have explored the internal landscape of our being, learning to navigate our thoughts and emotions to hold a steady, high frequency of abundance. We have learned that in moments of contrast, our faith is our fortress. Now, we arrive at the tool that translates this internal, silent energy into a powerful, declarative, world-shaping force. We arrive at the power of the spoken word. We often think of our words as being merely descriptive, as simple labels we attach to the reality that already exists. But this is a profound misunderstanding of their function. Your words are creative. They are the chisel you use to sculpt the raw energy of the universe into the physical forms and experiences of your life. And within the vast lexicon of human language, there are two words that are more potent, more creative, and more divinely powerful than all the others combined. They are the two words that define your reality. They are I Am. These are not just words of self-identification. In the deepest metaphysical sense, I Am is the name of God. In the ancient scriptures, when Moses encounters the divine presence in the burning bush and asks for its name, the response is not a personal moniker, but a statement of pure being. I am that I am. This is a cosmic secret hidden in plain sight. It means that the name of the one, infinite, creative power of the universe is pure, unconditioned awareness itself. I Am. Therefore, every time you speak or think the words I Am, you are invoking this divine, creative name. You are picking up the scepter of command. Whatever you attach to those two sacred words, you are decreeing into existence in your own world. Your subconscious mind, that loyal and powerful servant, does not judge or question. It is a magnificent, literal genie that simply obeys. When you say, "I am so tired," the genie hears the command and dutifully creates the experience of fatigue in your body. When you say, "I am so broke," the genie hears the order and works tirelessly to orchestrate a reality that matches the state of being broke, ensuring bills appear and opportunities vanish. It doesn't do this to punish you. It does this to serve you, because it believes that whatever follows I am is the reality you have chosen to experience. This is why becoming a conscious creator requires you to become a conscious guardian of these two words. You must stop using this divine power to inadvertently curse yourself and begin using it deliberately to bless yourself. This understanding allows us to make the quantum leap from the frequency of wanting to the frequency of being. We have discussed how I want is a declaration of lack, vibrating at the frequency of absence. To say, "I want to be wealthy," is to affirm that you are currently not wealthy. It keeps your desire perpetually at arm's length. A step up from that is to say, "I have wealth," which is a statement of possession. But the ultimate state, the state of full embodiment and creative power, is to declare "I am wealth." The shift is subtle but profound. You are no longer identifying as a person who is trying to get something. You are identifying as the thing itself. You are not a person who has abundance. You are the consciousness of abundance personified. I am financial freedom. I am security. I am a joyful receiver of all good thing. This collapses the energetic distance between you and your desire to zero. You are not trying to attract it. You are claiming it as your fundamental identity. It is the difference between putting on a costume of a king and knowing, in your very bones, that you are royalty. The pioneers of the New Thought movement understood this principle intimately. One of its most powerful voices was Florence Scovel Shinn, whose classic audiobook, The Game of Life and How to Play It, is a masterclass in the practical application of spiritual law. Shinn taught that the universe is governed by immutable laws, and that our spoken word is one of the most powerful forces within this system. For her, affirmations were not just hopeful wishes, they were decrees. They were spoken commands that set spiritual law into motion. She would have her clients speak the word for their desires with force and conviction, impressing the subconscious mind with the truth of the new reality. Instead of meekly hoping for a job, she would have a client boldly and rhythmically affirm, "I have a wonderful work. In a wonderful way. I give wonderful service. For wonderful pay." This is not a request. It is a declaration of what is now so. Shinn also taught that you must prepare for the thing you have asked for, as this demonstrates active faith. If you are affirming for a new home, start clearing out clutter to make room. If you are affirming for a journey, buy a new piece of luggage. These physical acts reinforce the spoken word and signal to the subconscious that the new reality is imminent. Listening to her work is like receiving direct, no-nonsense spiritual coaching from a woman who saw countless miracles occur by teaching people how to align their spoken word with universal law. So, let us now become detectives of our own language. For the next 24 hours, I invite you to undertake a simple but eye-opening exercise. Audit your own speech, carry a small notebook or use your phone, and simply notice, without judgment, how often you use the creative power of I am against yourself. How many times a day do you say, "I'm so tired," "I'm so stressed out," or "I am just snowed under with work"? How often do you jokingly say, "I'm so broke," or "I'm an idiot"? Notice the other limiting identity statements you use. "I could never afford that." That kind of success isn't for people like me. "I'm just not a lucky person." Do not try to shame yourself. The goal is simply to bring the unconscious to the light of the conscious. You cannot change a program until you are aware that it is running. You will likely be shocked at how frequently you are issuing these negative commands to your subconscious genie. This simple act of awareness is the first and most critical step in taking back your power and choosing your words as deliberately as a painter chooses their colors. In this exploration, we see that the two words I am are the creative instrument given to us to shape the unformed substance of consciousness into the specific experiences of our lives. They are the ultimate declaration of cause. By becoming vigilantly aware of our casual speech and deliberately choosing to formulate and repeat powerful, life-affirming I am statements, we seize the helm of our creative power. We stop being the unconscious victims of our own language and become the conscious creators of our reality. As we begin to master this inner creative dialogue, as our internal monologue shifts from I am lacking to I am abundance, a fascinating and natural change begins to occur. This new inner consciousness of respect, value, and abundance starts to bleed out into the physical world, changing the very way we interact with the material symbols of money around us. This brings us to the quiet, dignified practice of the conscious handling of money. As we become the conscious masters of our inner world, as we learn to declare I am with authority and shape our reality from the inside out, a fascinating and necessary alignment begins to take place. Our outer world, in its role as the perfect mirror, starts to conform to our new inner state. This means that our physical habits and actions must begin to reflect the new consciousness of abundance, respect, and value that we are cultivating. The way you physically handle money, the coins in your pocket, the bills in your wallet, the manner in which you pay for things is a direct, tangible expression of your inner relationship with abundance. To have a consciousness that says, I am wealthy, while treating the physical symbols of wealth with disrespect and chaos, is to send a contradictory signal. This next step, then, is about closing that gap. It is about learning to handle money with the same reverence and intentionality that you are now bringing to your thoughts and feeling. It is about making your physical actions a prayer of abundance. Let's begin with the place where most of us physically interact with money, our wallet or purse. I want you to conduct a small experiment. Take a look at your wallet right now. What is its condition? Is it a chaotic jumble of faded, crumpled receipts, disorganized cards, and wadded-up bills shoved into corners? Or is it a clean, orderly, and respectful space? This is not a question of aesthetics or organization for its own sake. The state of your wallet is an energetic snapshot of your financial consciousness. A chaotic, neglected wallet reflects a chaotic and neglectful attitude toward money. It broadcasts an energy of disrespect, of not valuing what you have. Now, let's reframe this. I want you to start thinking of your money, not as an inanimate tool, but as a cherished guest, a dear friend who has come to visit you and support you. How would you treat such a guest? You would give them a clean, comfortable, and beautiful space. You would treat them with honor and respect. From this day forward, treat your money with that same honor. Take the time to clean out your wallet. Discard the old receipts. And when you place cash inside, do not wad it up. Smooth out each bill. Arrange them neatly, all facing the same direction, perhaps in order of denomination. This may seem like a small, silly act, but its energetic impact is immense. Every time you open your wallet, you will be met with a vision of order, respect, and dignity. You are sending a powerful, non-verbal message to your subconscious mind and to the universe. I value and respect money. It is welcome in my life. I have created a beautiful and honorable place for it here. Next, We must transform the alchemy of spending. For most people, the act of paying for something is accompanied by a subtle, and sometimes not so subtle, feeling of loss. It is a wince, a tightening in the chest, a feeling that your supply is now diminished. This feeling is a powerful prayer of lack. It reinforces the belief that your resources are finite and that every transaction moves you closer to not enough. We must consciously reverse this flow. From now on, every time you pay a bill or make a purchase, I want you to perform a silent act of blessing. When you pay your rent or mortgage, instead of feeling the pain of that large sum of money leaving your account, take a moment to feel profound gratitude for your home. Silently say, "Thank you for the shelter, safety, and comfort this home provides for me and my family. I joyfully release this money, knowing it supports the property owner and their family, and that it flows out into the world to do good." When you buy groceries, feel gratitude for the food that will nourish you, for the farmers who grew it, for the truckers who delivered it, and for the grocers who made it available. Bless the money as you pay, knowing it is part of a magnificent chain of energy exchange. This simple shift in consciousness transforms an act of depletion into a powerful act of appreciation and circulation. You are no longer losing money. You are directing the flow of abundance with gratitude. This practice aligns us with the great universal law of circulation. Energy, like water, must flow to remain fresh and vital. When you hoard money out of fear, its energy stagnates. When you allow it to flow from you with joy and trust, you ensure that more can flow back to you. The great New Thought author Wallace D. Wattles, in his classic audiobook, The Science of Getting Rich, emphasized a key principle: you must always seek to give every person more in use value than you take from them in cash value. This means that in every transaction, your primary focus should be on conveying an impression of increase, of value, of appreciation. When you pay your bills with a blessing, you are energetically sending an impression of increase to that business. When you tip a server generously and with a genuine smile, you are impressing upon them the feeling of abundance. This energy does not simply vanish. You are contributing to a collective field of prosperity. And according to the law of circulation, the energy you send out must eventually return to you. By blessing the money that leaves your hands, you are magnetizing it to return to you, multiplied. See the money you spend not as gone forever, but as little energetic emissaries that you are sending out into the world to bless others, knowing that they are on a round trip, and they will return to your port laden with even more treasures upon their arrival. Finally, we come to the ultimate physical demonstration of an abundant consciousness, the practice of conscious giving, or tithing. This is the act of setting aside a certain percentage of your income, traditionally 10%, and giving it away freely and joyfully, with no strings attached and no expectation of a direct return. This must not be seen as a religious obligation or a charitable act done out of pity. It is a powerful, strategic, spiritual declaration of abundance. When you consciously give a portion of your income away, you are making one of the boldest statements of faith possible. You are declaring to yourself, to your subconscious mind, and to the universe, "My source is so infinite and so abundant that I can give this away with complete joy and trust, knowing that I am endlessly and effortlessly supplied. There is always more where that came from." This act of faith creates what some call an energetic vacuum. By creating an outflow, you are commanding a corresponding inflow to rush in and fill the space. You are priming the pump of prosperity. The key here is the emotion behind the act. Giving out of a sense of duty or fear will not have the same effect. It must be done with a feeling of genuine joy, gratitude, and unwavering trust in your infinite source. So, By bringing our physical actions into alignment with our new inner consciousness, we complete the circuit of abundance. We treat the symbols of wealth with the respect due to a cherished friend. We transform the pain of paying into the joy of circulation, blessing all that we give. And we practice the ultimate act of faith through conscious, joyful giving. We are no longer just passive observers or hopeful wishers in the game of life. We have become active, conscious, and masterful participants in the divine, universal flow of prosperity. This conscious participation, this feeling of being a clear channel for the flow, naturally elevates us beyond the simple consciousness of having enough to get by. It lifts our entire being into a new state of awareness, a state where our cup is not just full, but is constantly and joyfully spilling over to bless the world around us. This brings us to the magnificent and liberating reality of living in a state of overflow. As you continue to practice these principles, aligning your thoughts, mastering your emotions, and consciously handling the flow of energy in your life, you will inevitably reach a beautiful and powerful new plateau of consciousness. The first stage is moving from lack to just enough. This is the feeling of relief. The moment you realize your needs are met and you can finally breathe. It is a wonderful and necessary milestone, but there is a level beyond it. A more expansive and joyous state of being. That is your ultimate birthright. It is the shift from the consciousness of enough to the consciousness of overflow. This is not about hoarding or excess. It is a dynamic, vibrant state of knowing that your cup is not just full, but is perpetually spilling over, nourishing the ground around you and watering the seeds of abundance in the lives of others. This is the state where you move from being simply a receiver of abundance to becoming a powerful, joyful conduit for it. This is the consciousness of the true master. To live in a state of overflow does not necessarily mean having millions of dollars in the bank. It is, first and foremost, a state of mind, a deep, cellular knowing. It is the shift from thinking I have enough to cover my needs to knowing my source is infinite. Therefore, my supply is infinite, and I always have more than enough. A person with a vast fortune can still live in a terrifying consciousness of lack, constantly worried about market fluctuations and losing what they have. Conversely, a person of relatively modest means can live in a magnificent state of overflow, because they have cultivated an unshakable trust in their inexhaustible source. This consciousness of overflow is characterized by a profound sense of peace. You stop worrying about where your next dollar, your next client, or your next idea will come from, just as you do not worry about where your next breath will come from. You simply know that it will be there. You relax. You unclench the fist of fear that has been gripping your energy for so long, and you open your hand to the world. This is the state where you naturally transition from being merely a consumer of life to becoming a creator and a distributor of its blessings. You are no longer just a cup trying to be filled. You have become a fountain. When you begin to operate from this consciousness of overflow, your energetic signature becomes intensely magnetic. The universe and the people in it are drawn to the energy of genuine, open-handed generosity. When you know, truly know, that your supply is infinite, you stop approaching the world with the silent, anxious question, "What can I get from this?" Your entire orientation shifts to, "What can I give here? How can I contribute? How can I add value?" You freely share your knowledge, your connections, your encouragement, and your kindness, not as a calculated strategy to get something in return, but as a natural expression of the abundance you feel within. A person who embodies this generous spirit becomes a hub of positive energy. People want to be around them. Opportunities flock to them. The universe, which operates on the principle of flow, wants to pour its resources into a channel that it knows will joyfully and effectively distribute them. It will not pour a river into a thimble. It will pour a river into a vast, open delta that leads back to the sea. By becoming a fountain, you signal to the cosmos that you are a reliable and joyous partner in the circulation of all good. This principle is beautifully illustrated by the metaphor of a lake. If a lake has many streams flowing into it, but it has no outlet, no river flowing out, what happens? The water becomes stagnant, murky, and lifeless. It cannot support life. It is the constant outflow, the river that carries its waters back out into the world, that keeps the lake fresh, clear, vital, and allows it to remain perpetually full. Your personal economy, both energetic and financial, works in exactly the same way. The outflow, the act of giving, is absolutely essential to keep your own life vital and to allow the universe to keep pouring more into you. This is the central, transformative idea in the powerful parable. The Go-Giver by Bob Berg and John David Mann. The book's core premise is a radical reframe of success. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment. This is not a call to be a martyr or to allow yourself to be taken advantage of. It is the most practical and potent business and life strategy in existence. The story teaches that the secret to getting is to shift your focus entirely to giving when your primary intention is to genuinely help other people, to solve their problems, to enrich their lives, and to provide immense value. Your own success and financial reward become an inevitable and natural byproduct. Listening to this short, profound audiobook can completely rewire your perspective, helping you to transition from the competitive, anxious mindset of a go-getter to the calm, confident, and magnetic consciousness of a go-giver. This is not a state you must wait to practice. You do not say, "I will be generous when I am rich." You must be generous with what you have right now in order to become rich. This is your immediate homework. I want you to make a conscious decision to become the most generous person you know. Starting today, with your current resources. If money feels tight, then be extravagant with your non-monetary assets. Be wildly generous with your praise and encouragement. When you see someone doing good work, tell them, specifically and genuinely. Be generous with your smile to strangers. Be generous with your full, undivided attention when a loved one is speaking to you. Be generous with your knowledge. If you learn something that could help someone else, share it freely. Make an introduction between two people you think should know each other. This is the practice of overflow. You are acting as if you are already a fountain. You are cultivating the consciousness of having more than enough to share, which is the very frequency that will attract the physical evidence of it into your life. In essence, living in the state of overflow is the glorious culmination of all the principles we have discussed. It is the natural expression of a mind that has been cleared of limiting beliefs, of a heart that has been tuned to gratitude, and of a spirit that trusts in the infinite flow of life. It is the shift from being a dam to being a delta, from being a stagnant pond to being a rushing, life-giving river. As you begin to embody this consciousness of joyful generosity, as you feel the thrill of contributing to the well-being of others, something incredible happens. One of the most toxic, constricting, and prosperity-blocking emotions begins to naturally wither and die within you. You stop seeing the success of another person as a threat or a diminishment of your own. Your heart fills with genuine joy at their good fortune, because you know you are both drinking from the same infinite ocean. You effortlessly step out of the poisonous prison of comparison and envy. As we learn to live in the magnificent state of overflow, becoming a fountain of value and generosity for the world, we are prepared to confront and dissolve one of the most insidious and powerful prosperity blocks in the human experience. It is a subtle poison that can curdle the joy of even the most spiritually minded person. A thief that robs us of our peace and anchors us in a state of lack. It is the poison of comparison. And its painful symptom is the feeling of envy. You know this feeling well. You are having a perfectly good day. And then you scroll through your social media feed. You see a friend announce a new, exciting business venture. You see a colleague post photos from a luxurious vacation. You hear that someone you know just bought their dream home. The very kind of home you have been visualizing for yourself. And in that moment, a familiar, sick feeling arises in the pit of your stomach. It is a complex cocktail of resentment, sadness, and self-pity. This is the pang of envy. And in this part of our journey, we will learn not only how to heal this poison, but how to alchemize it into a powerful catalyst for our own success. To neutralize this poison, we must first understand its source. The feeling of envy is always, without exception, born from a deep, subconscious belief in scarcity. It is rooted in the faulty paradigm of the limited pie. When you feel envious of another's success, you are operating under the assumption that there is a finite amount of success, a finite amount of money, a finite amount of opportunity available in the world. Your subconscious logic is, if they got that big promotion, that means there is one less promotion available for me. If they attracted a wonderful partner, that's one less wonderful partner for me. Comparison is the ego's favorite and most destructive game. The ego loves to measure and define itself by being better than or less than those around it. It is a game you can never, ever win, because no matter how successful you become, there will always be someone who appears to have more. And no matter how much you are struggling, there is always someone with less. It is a self-imposed prison of perpetual dissatisfaction. But we have been learning the truth. And the truth is that this universe is not a limited pie. It is an infinite, boundless ocean of abundance. Another person taking a bucket of water from the sea does not mean there is less water for you. In fact, their ability to fill their bucket is the ultimate proof that the water is there, that it is available, and that you, too, can dip your own bucket in and drink your fill. This leads us to the great reframe, the alchemical formula that turns the poison of envy into the potion of power. From this moment forward, you must train yourself to see another person's success not as a diminishment of your own, but as a preview of your own. It is a coming attraction trailer that the universe is playing specifically for you. When you see someone achieve the very thing you desire, the universe is lovingly saying to you, look, see, this is real. This is possible. This exists in the field of reality. I am showing you this evidence to encourage you, to bolster your faith that what you desire is on its way to you. When you see that success, you have a critical choice. You can choose the low-frequency path of envy, which creates a painful dissonance between you and your desire. Or you can choose the high-frequency path of genuine celebration. In that moment, you can see their success as a vibrational tuning fork. They are vibrating at the frequency of achievement, of joy, of abundance. By feeling genuine happiness for them, you are consciously tuning your own energetic instrument to match their frequency. You are literally, vibrationally, aligning yourself with the feeling of the very thing you want. You can make this a practical exercise. The next time you feel that familiar pang, I want you to stop. Take a deep breath, place a hand on your heart, and say, either silently or out loud, that is so wonderful. I am so genuinely happy for them. Thank you, universe, for showing me what is possible. I celebrate their success as evidence of my own. And I know that the same infinite source that supplied them is supplying me. Feel the shift in your body as you do this. The release of constriction. The opening of your heart. That is the feeling of aligning with abundance. Let us imagine a simple story to illustrate this principle. Picture two old friends, both aspiring musicians. Let's call them Alex and Ben. They are both talented, but they have fundamentally different mindsets. One day, Alex gets a small breakthrough. A popular local band asks him to be their opening act. Ben hears the news, and instead of feeling joy for his friend, he feels a knot of envy in his stomach. He thinks, why him and not me? He got the lucky break. He offers a half-hearted congratulations, but secretly, he hopes the show doesn't go well. He is vibrating at the frequency of success is a limited resource. And he just took my piece. A few months later, Ben gets his own small opportunity, a chance to play at a local festival. Alex hears the news and is genuinely ecstatic. He immediately shares the event on his own social media. He calls all of his contacts to encourage them to go. He helps Ben practice. And on the day of the show, he is in the front row, cheering the loudest. Alex is vibrating at the frequency of, this is amazing. Success is happening for all of us. A win for him is a win for the team over the next few years. Alex is collaborative. Celebratory energy makes him a magnet for other musicians and opportunities. He is seen as a supportive and positive force in the community, and his own career flourishes. Ben, meanwhile, stuck in his competitive, scarcity-based mindset, finds himself feeling more and more isolated and bitter, wondering why things seem to come so easily for Alex. While he continues to struggle, the moral is clear. The energy you broadcast in response to the success of others creates the very channel through which your own success can, or cannot, flow. It is crucial to understand what you are energetically declaring when you complain about or feel envious of another's good fortune. When you look at someone's beautiful home, their successful business, or their happy relationship, and you feel that bitter taste of envy, you are sending a powerful, unambiguous signal to the universe that says, I do not like that. I disapprove of that. And because you cannot energetically separate the person from the thing you desire, you are effectively telling the universe, keep that experience of wealth, love, or success away from me. I find it distasteful. You are energetically repelling the very thing you claim to want. Complaining about another's success is a powerful affirmation for your own lack. It solidifies your identity as a person who does not have, making it impossible to shift into the consciousness of a person who does have. You are choosing to remain outside the celebration, looking in through the window with resentment, when the door has been wide open for you all along. To release the poison of comparison and to learn to genuinely celebrate the wins of others is therefore not just a nice or moral thing to do. It is a core strategy for profound and rapid manifestation. It is the final purification of the scarcity virus from your system. When you can see every person's success as a win for the collective, when you can look upon the abundance of another and feel a thrill of joy as if it were your own, you have graduated to a new level of consciousness. You are no longer just a player reacting to the game. You understand the rules. You have mastered your inner state, and you are ready to step into your most powerful and creative role. You are now ready to consciously partner with the intelligence of the cosmos. You are ready to become a conscious co-creator with the universe. We have now traveled through the vast and intricate landscapes of consciousness. We began by shattering the illusion that money is a physical object, then came to understand it as a form of energy. We learned that this energy responds to our own frequency, a frequency dictated by our beliefs, our thoughts, and most powerfully, our emotions. We have learned to master these inner states, to navigate the inevitable moments of contrast, and to celebrate the success of others as a preview of our own. Now, we arrive at the grand synthesis. It is time to put all the pieces together and step fully into our most powerful and authentic role. The role we were born to play. You are not a powerless victim of a random universe, nor are you a solitary god who must bend reality to your will through sheer force. The truth is far more beautiful and collaborative. You are a conscious co-creator with the universe. You are a divine partner in a magnificent and perpetual dance of creation. This partnership, like any successful collaboration, operates on a clear and elegant division of labor. Understanding your role and the universe's role is the key to eliminating struggle and stepping into a state of graceful and miraculous flow. Let's be very clear about your job description in this divine enterprise. First, your job is to get crystal clear on the what and the why. This is the work of visualization and intention. You must create a clear, compelling vision of what you wish to create. And you must know why you want it. The feelings of joy, freedom, or love you believe it will bring. Second, your job is to maintain the high-frequency emotional state of your wish already being fulfilled. This is the work of gratitude, faith, and feeling. You must become a vibrational match for the reality you desire before it can manifest. Third, your job is to listen for and joyfully act upon the intuitive nudges and whispers of inspired action. And fourth, your most important job is to trust the process completely, to surrender the outcome to a higher wisdom, and to maintain your faith, especially during those quiet periods or moments of contrast. That is your work. The vision, the vibration, the inspired action, and the trust. The universe also has a very specific job description, and its job is everything else. The universe's role is to handle all the complex and miraculous logistics. Its job is to manage the how, the when, and the who. Its job is to orchestrate the symphony of events, people, and circumstances that must come together to bring your vision into form. Its job is to inspire the idea in the mind of the person who can help you, to arrange the synchronous meeting at the coffee shop, to clear the unforeseen obstacle from your path, and to choreograph the billions of subatomic particles that make up physical reality, causing them to coalesce into the form that matches your new vibration. The universe's job is to take the blueprint you have provided with your vision and to be the master builder, bringing all the materials and all the workers together to construct the final masterpiece in a way that is far more ingenious and magical than your limited mind could ever conceive. The primary source of all human struggle, frustration, and resistance is this: we are constantly trying to do the universe's job. We must, therefore, learn to surrender the tyranny of the how, ego, with its need for certainty and control, is obsessed with figuring out the exact path from here to there. It creates a rigid, step-by-step plan and believes it is the only way, but the ego's perspective is like looking at a vast and complex city through a tiny keyhole. It can only see one street, one possible route. The universe, however, has the satellite view. It sees every street, every alleyway, every secret passage, every shortcut. It knows the traffic patterns and the construction detours. For you to insist on your own limited, logical how is to tell the master navigator of the cosmos that you know better. The how is not a problem for you to solve. The how is the universe's creative playground. The universe delights in surprising us, in dazzling us with its artistry and its clever, unexpected solutions. Your desire to control the how robs you of the joy and wonder of watching the magic unfold. Your only job is to hold the vision, maintain the feeling, and be ready to be pleasantly, wonderfully surprised. A simple way to understand this entire co-creative process is to use the metaphor of ordering at the most magnificent restaurant imaginable. The restaurant at the edge of the universe. You, the conscious creator, are the honored patron. First, you sit down and quiet your mind. Preparing to choose, you are handed the menu, which contains the infinite field of all possibilities. You take your time. You feel into what you desire, and you choose your dish with clarity and decision. You do not worry about whether the restaurant has the ingredients, or if the chef knows the recipe. You simply choose. You say to your waiter, "The universe, I will have the joyfully thriving creative business, please," with a side of deeply fulfilling relationships and a vibrant, healthy body footism. You place your order with a sense of happy expectation and unwavering trust. Now, what do you do while you wait for your meal? Do you storm into the kitchen and start telling the master chef how to chop the vegetables and season the sauce? Do you tap your watch impatiently every 30 seconds? No. That would be absurd. You trust the chef. You relax. You enjoy the beautiful ambiance of the restaurant. You maintain your high frequency. You have a delightful conversation with your companions. You live your life with joy. You listen to the beautiful music playing in the background. You follow your inspired nudges. And then, at the perfect moment, your dish arrives. It is more exquisitely prepared, more aromatic, and more delicious than you even imagined. And you do not dissect it or question it. You simply receive it with gratitude. And you savor every single bite. This is the model for conscious co-creation. Order clearly. Trust the kitchen. Enjoy the ambiance. And receive with joy. This beautiful partnership is a relationship. And like any healthy relationship, it is built on 3 essential pillars. The first is trust and unshakable faith that your partner, the universe, is benevolent, infinitely intelligent, and has your highest good at heart. The second is communication. This is a two-way dialogue. You communicate to the universe with your clear intentions and your elevated feelings. The universe communicates back to you through the whispers of your intuition and the loud and clear signposts of synchronicity. The third pillar is love. This entire process is fueled by love. The love you have for your own vision. The self-love required to believe you are worthy of receiving it. And the deep, abiding love that comes from knowing you are a cherished and inseparable aspect of a loving universe. We have now graduated. Our journey has taken us from being unconscious victims of circumstance to being frustrated warriors fighting against the world. To this, our final and true destination. We are divine partners, dancing in a perfect rhythm with the cosmos. We have learned to do our part with joy and discipline, and to allow the universe to do its part with wonder and grace. As we master this dance, as financial struggle becomes a distant memory and abundance becomes our natural state of being, a new and profound question begins to surface in the quiet of our fulfilled hearts. When the battle for survival is over, what do we truly live for? When money is no longer a problem, what do we choose to create? This leads us to the final and most meaningful stage of our journey, the conscious creation of a legacy. We have now arrived at the final stage of our co-creative partnership with the universe. The magnificent vista that opens up once you have truly mastered the inner arts of abundance. You have learned to be the conscious commander of your mind and heart. You have learned to trust the flow. Financial abundance is no longer a desperate goal to be chased, but a natural, consistent, and peaceful state of being. The frantic question of how do I get mine has been answered, and it has dissolved into silence. In that sacred silence, a new, more expansive, And far more meaningful question arises. It is the question that defines the second half of a truly fulfilled life. And that question is, now that my own cup is full and overflowing, what shall I do with this magnificent abundance? What is this all for? This final part of our journey is about answering that question. It is about understanding that the ultimate purpose of mastering these laws is not merely for personal comfort, but for planetary impact. It is about learning to use money as a sacred tool for the creation of a legacy. This shift in focus from survival to service is a natural and organic evolution of consciousness. Think of it as a spiritual application of Maslow's famous hierarchy of needs. In the beginning of our journey, our focus was necessarily on securing our own foundation. We needed to feel safe, secure, and provided for. This is a vital first step. But once those foundational needs are consistently and effortlessly met, our consciousness naturally, without any forcing, begins to expand beyond the narrow confines of me and mine. The frantic obsession with our own survival is a symptom of the fear of lack. When that fear dissolves in the ocean of trust and abundance, our perspective widens. We begin to feel our profound interconnectedness with all of life. The struggles of others are no longer a distant news story. We feel a compassionate ache. The joys of others are no longer a source of envy. We feel a genuine thrill of shared celebration. Service ceases to be a moral duty or a chore you should do. It becomes a joyful, compelling, and natural impulse. You have become a full vessel. And the most joyous experience for a full vessel is to pour itself out in service to the world. In this new state of being, your relationship with money undergoes its final and most profound transformation. You come to understand that money is, in its essence, completely neutral. It is simply a current of energy. It has no inherent morality, no good or bad. Money is simply an amplifier. It magnifies the consciousness of the person who wields it. In the hands of an unconscious individual driven by fear, insecurity, and ego, money amplifies those qualities. It becomes a tool for creating separation, for hoarding, for control, and for destruction. This is where the old, mistaken belief that money is evil comes from. It is not the money that is evil. It is the fearful consciousness that is using it. But in your hands, the hands of a conscious co-creator who has done the deep inner work of healing limiting beliefs, cultivating gratitude, and connecting with a higher purpose, money becomes a sacred instrument. It becomes one of the most powerful tools for good on the planet. It amplifies your love. It amplifies your compassion. It amplifies your creativity. It becomes a tool to fund the cure for a disease, to build sustainable and beautiful communities, to feed the hungry, to protect the innocent, to fund transcendent art that uplifts the human spirit, and to spread the very wisdom that brought you to this place of abundance. The money that flows to you is not just for you. It is the fuel for your highest intentions for the world. This is where you begin to consciously define your legacy. And a true legacy has very little to do with the amount of money you leave in a will. Your legacy is the energetic imprint you leave on the fabric of humanity. It is the sum total of the love you gave, the kindness you showed, the people you inspired, and the positive changes you initiated. Your legacy is not what you had. It is what you gave. We see this new consciousness emerging in the world. We see philanthropists who are moving beyond simply putting their names on buildings and are now tackling systemic global problems with creativity and urgency. We see conscious entrepreneurs who are building businesses that are not just profitable, but are also deeply ethical, environmentally sustainable, and profoundly empowering for their employees and communities. These are people who understand that great wealth is not a personal trophy to be polished and displayed, but a sacred public trust, a powerful resource to be stewarded for the betterment of all. And so now, this great question is presented to you. When your time on this beautiful planet is complete, what do you want your life to have been about? What seeds will you have planted? What ripples of love and progress will you have sent out into the world? The answer to this question is the ultimate. Why that will now fuel your co-creative partnership with the universe. And so, we arrive at the final understanding. True, ultimate, and lasting prosperity is not the state of having a lot. It is the state of being a lot. It is the state of having become such a clear, wide, and open channel that the infinite grace and abundance of the universe can flow through you, without obstruction, to bless and heal the world. The journey began with the ego's desperate desire to get something. It matured into the spiritual practice of learning how to allow something, and it now culminates in the final, selfless state of simply being the conduit. You are no longer focused on frantically filling your own cup. You are now focused on keeping the channel of your own being so pure and so wide that you become a permanent fountain, a constant source of refreshment and nourishment for all of life. This is the end of the game of accumulation and the beginning of the divine art of distribution. And so our exploration concludes. The ultimate purpose of mastering the laws of prosperity is not to enrich the self, but to empower the self to enrich the world. It is about using the magnificent tools of consciousness to manifest an abundance so great that it naturally overflows, touching all of humanity. This journey, from the dark and cramped consciousness of chasing paper phantoms to this bright, this expansive state of being a conscious conduit for divine good, has been the ultimate transformation. It has been a journey from fear to love, from getting to giving, from a life of limits to a life of legacy. We began this journey together in a state of quiet desperation, perhaps sitting in traffic, feeling the immense weight of a world that taught us we had to chase, to struggle, and to sacrifice our peace for a few paper phantoms. We saw money as a cruel and elusive master, and ourselves as its exhausted servants. Look at where we are now. We have journeyed through the very architecture of our reality, dismantling the old, inherited beliefs of lack and scarcity. Brick by brick, we have learned that money is not a thing to be pursued, but an energy to be embodied, that the universe responds not to our wanting, but to our being. We traveled from the mind, learning to consciously choose our thoughts, to the heart, learning to cultivate the high-frequency emotions of gratitude and joy. We learned to trade desperate, frantic action for the graceful, powerful current of inspired flow. We have redefined wealth itself, not as a number in an account, but as a life rich in freedom, connection, purpose, and peace. We have journeyed from chasing shadows to becoming the substance, from being a victim of circumstance to being a conscious co-creator with the universe. If you are to take only one truth from our entire journey together, let it be this: your outer world is and always will be a flawless mirror of your inner world. The financial prosperity you seek is not a destination to be arrived at. It is a shadow cast by the light of your own consciousness. The ultimate secret is that you were never meant to chase the shadow. You were meant to become the light. Your primary work in this life is not to make $1 million. It is to cultivate a consciousness of peace, of joy, of unconditional love, and of unshakable self-worth. It is to tend to the garden of your own inner being so diligently that it becomes a paradise. From that fertile inner ground, the fruits of financial prosperity will grow, naturally, effortlessly, and inevitably, as a beautiful byproduct of your own magnificent becoming. The change does not happen when the money arrives. The money arrives when the change happens within you. And so, you stand now at the true beginning. You do not need to wait for a single external circumstance to change before you can start. You do not need anyone's permission. The key to this kingdom, the power to reshape your reality, is already in your possession. It is your very next thought. It is the very next feeling you choose to cultivate in your heart. It is the choice, in this sacred moment, to stop telling the old story of lack and to begin speaking the new truth of your own divine abundance. The universe is not some distant entity you must petition. It is the very life force breathing you as you hear these words, listening with loving attention, and ready, always ready, to respond to the new frequency you choose to broadcast. Your journey to true wealth does not start tomorrow when things are better. It does not start when you have more time or more energy. It begins now.